Hello everyone, what's up? This is D2 along with The Source, and we totally screwed up. We thought that the GCS was going to start a bit later than it didn't end up starting. And so this is the Garena Challenger Series, aka the GCS, one of the biggest tournaments in the world, and it's in Taiwan. Has lots of the best teams in the world. You've probably heard of SMG, who you can see on the screen right now. You've probably heard of J Team, who went to the AWC. You've probably heard of AHQ, or excuse me, you've probably heard of the Korean national team who won the World Championships, but they are AHQ now. So those are the teams in this league. Certainly extremely excited to be able to cast it. I've been rambling because I'm flustered. What's up, The Source?
Not much. I'm surprised that things went this long. We checked a bunch of odds, and they normally have a much longer intro, but today they just decided to get into it.
Yeah, exactly. We were looking through the VODs, and all the previous VODs, there was like two commentators talking for about 15 minutes, and then there was another break about 15 minutes. We were not expecting to start for another like 30 minutes from now because they usually take their time, but apparently today they decided to go faster, which, all things considered, I would appreciate if they did that going forward. But to spring it on us now, it's a bit discombobulating. Anyway, we are in the draft. Just to introduce you to our teams, it is SMG on the left, which stands for Still Moving Under Gunfire, but no one knows that at all. And the team on the right is Monster Shield. And as you can see, they're two of the bottom teams in the league right now. 1 and 4 is SMG, and 0 and 5 is Monster Shield. However, SMG are huge fan favorites. You've probably seen, SMG Hanzo, SMG Genji in your YouTube feed if you like to watch a lot of AOV videos on YouTube. And they won the first season of GCS. They were the finalists last season, and many of the members were invited to go to be part of the wildcard team in the AWC as well. But they turned that down. But yeah, they're huge fan favorites, and unfortunately are struggling so far. But we are way into this draft. We had, as you can see, the bands on the bottom. If you've been following us on the RPL, the bands are a little bit flipped. So we had the Pura, Xenial, and Violet band on the side of MS. And then we had the Liliana, Dioma, and Slim's band. Pretty different bands from what we're used to. But let's just fast track our way through this. What do you think of the draft so far, The Source?
I was watching Monster Shield hover the Maraud, and I was curious as to whether or not they'd pick it, because Maraud is a very all-in character. Like if you can get him to a place where no, but then they were hovering him in their second pick, and then they pick him. I'm like, they got a plan. They've got something they're definitely looking to do. Superman getting through on the other side, that's also a little interesting to me, just because I don't see as much Superman. I mean, permaban and NA solo queue for sure, but we saw him get a couple of bans and just not a whole lot of play when we were watching the RPL. So I want to see how these guys play it.
Right. Well, the thing we have to realize is that the Valor series is different from the RPL, which is different from the GCS, and certainly teams value characters differently. Though I will have to say that all the players that people typically pick are on tier S of my personal tier list that we put on Samurai Gamers. So that's just a flex on my part. Sorry, I had to get that out there. Let's let's just take a look at how we're finishing this up. Looks like they're favoring, speaking of MS, they're favoring a marksman in their final pick. Could be that Joker. I would say that there's quite a few teams who in the GCS who favor going with a Necroth, going with Murad as far as the assassin jungler is concerned, because there's a lot of people, it turns out, in Taiwan that can play the assassin junglers just as well as Vex can. As it turns out, there's lots of talented players, so you see a lot of rosters favor that, or at least are capable of doing that.
I like seeing assassin junglers just because when it's played properly, it shows just a level of coordination and dominance that you don't really get out of a lot of other roles. Like when you play marksman junglers, it's a lot of poke. It can be incredibly impressive, but there is something nice and flashy about seeing a Maraud go in and 1v5 the enemy team, blink back out, and set up his entire team to go and win a team fight. So I'm excited to see what they do with it.
And I like the fact that the meta has kind of flipped around into a circle and gone back to where it started, because we see Valheim on the side lane, and typically Valheim is or in the dual lane setup, in what do you have in like in gold and platinum, right? He's just in the dual lane setup with the support there, but we somehow came to the same composition but at a much higher level. So it's really funny to see that happen, where it's like, this comp is either very noobish or very pro. But kind of the same thing at the same time there. But
I tend to find those to be it's less that they're noobish, and it's more that they're just very straightforward. They let the team try and perform at a higher level, and it comes down to execution. And then you get to see like which teams are the best and like which teams just like really can't pull it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really didn't get to see what was SMG's draft again. It just kind of flew by.
SMG's draft was Lindis, Chognar, Raz, Superman, Roxy.
All right. So who do you see winning this, or who do you think won the draft? Team skill aside, because I feel like SMG has the heavier, or is more skilled as far as players are concerned. But just draft alone, who do you think won?
I'm gonna give it to SMG because of the Chognar.
We've been tainted by Kit, though.
No. This is like defensive support Chognar. This is from the defensive support perspective of there isn't a whole lot of crowd control on the other side, with the exception of like point to click stun on Valheim. Like all of the crowd control is not big wombo combo AoE, with the exception of Crashed. So because of that, if Chognar is timing things well, you're going to see a lot less picks from Monster Shield. So, like, I feel like SMG is just in a safer position where they don't have to give up or risk as much to make plays as I feel Monster Shield does.
On the other hand, Monster Shield perhaps can bait out that Chaos Protection with the CC coming in from Omen, coming in from Murad and Valheim, and then all of a sudden you've used your Chaos Protection already, and boom, in comes Metamorphosis, and then you feel bad. So I think a lot of it comes down to execution, in my opinion, but really excited to see how the SMG lineup is going to be able to use Superman and Roxy to their best benefit there, and how they're able to cope with things like the Omen and the Valheim in the side lane, because as you've seen, those are two of the top side laners. Roxy, I feel like, can get by, but Superman might be kind of stun locked there by either of those characters.
Yeah, I really wouldn't want to see Superman kind of try to hold the side lane. Definitely, like, Chognar, Roxy sidelines, let Superman roam around, get something going. Like, try and use the fact that he is mobile, try and use him to just kind of shift the numbers in your advantage when you're moving around the map. Because if they get him to a point where he can be tanky enough, his disruption is top tier. He'll make Crixie have to think twice about getting close, Valheim have to think twice about getting close, and if they're not there to support the Murad, then Murad's just not going to be, like, he won't be as safe. And when Murad's not safe, then you can shut him down.
Right. I think a lot of this comes down to how good this Murad is. Murad is as well, because if he is just out of this world good, then he can cause so many problems. But at the same time, if he slips up one time, then a couple shots from that Lindis, and he's already a third health, So
yeah,
something that you really have to pay attention to.
Timing and support will be key for Monster Shield. Which, if they're willing to pick the Murad, I'd hazard a guess that they are confident playing around it, and like know how to make it so that Murad can kind of sneak in there and do his thing. So.
The funny thing we have to think about with this is that Murad is actually kind of a poke character. People think he's dive, but he can't really stay in the fight once he dives in. He has to use his abilities to teleport out of there, essentially, right? So he's very much a poke character, and you see that they've built their lineup around that, right? There is kind of that ability to dive if you have the Crush in your team, but other than that, we have Omen mostly doing his own thing, and then we have Crixie and Valheim wailing in from the back line. So it's not like, we're going to see crazy dives onto the back line like we see onto the Lindis. So, Lindis, if she doesn't get one shot by Murad, she might be just okay here.
Yeah, she's going to have to be careful about her pathing, because Lindis has very unique pathing. You can eventually start to figure out what she's up to. And that the mid lane is the most dangerous part for her, because Murad is rotating in there. Crixie gets one knock-up. You either half health or maybe even kill the Lindis. That combination could be enough to either send her back or kill her outright, and then you're messing up her jungle rotation. You're slowing down her movement. And I think that's where I'd like to see Monster Shield just kind of attack. Make sure you catch Lindis when she's trying to move around the map.
All right, well, we're taking a long time to get this game started, so I'm going to take this opportunity to tweet and tell my Discord to tune into the stream. If anything happens, let me know, but I'll let you go ahead and fill for a bit here.
What rabbit hole shall we go down? We were talking about rabbit holes earlier.
Well, last time I asked you what your favorite food was, and that turned into like a pizza discussion.
That did turn into a very long-term pizza discussion.
Anything you want to know about me?
What's your favorite ice cream?
My favorite ice cream, strawberry. Easy. I love strawberry. It's so good.
Fairly unique, as most people tend to go with the more complex, unique flavors, but that's one of the originals you don't hear a lot.
It's just so good. Like, Haagen-Dazs strawberry is probably my favorite singular ice cream.
I just can't think of the last time I had strawberry ice cream.
Really? It's one of my go-tos. It's like, if I know that it's a good company or like flavor or what have you, what the maker.
Then, a good brand of ice cream.
Yeah, that's the word I was trying to go for. Then I will definitely go for it. If it's just like pink nonsense, not like light pink, but like neon pink, then it's like, ugh. Jeez.
Well, at neon pink, then you're looking at something that's more of a sherbet.
No, I've seen like neon pink, but they're trying to go for the creamy kind, but it's just like bad. It's just cheap. You haven't seen enough cheap strawberry ice cream.
Apparently not.
I've tried lots because I'm always trying to go for that delicious real strawberry ice cream. Anyway, yeah, there we go. We could talk about this draft a little bit more, I suppose. We can just get really down into the nitty gritty. We could talk about the ban since we didn't have time to do that at the time. Pura ban is not like none of these bans are that surprising as far as the characters themselves. It's just bans we haven't really seen in Valor series or RPL. I'm looking at the Dioma, you never really see that, and like the Pura, for instance, unless there was a specific issue with like the Death Ball lineup in like the Valor series where they had the Pura and the Jinnar, for instance. But other than that, you haven't really seen those two be banned. What do you think about that?
I'd say the Ryoma is probably the most uncharacteristic to me, because I feel like Ryoma jungle is not as strong as it used to be in comparison to other junglers. Just there are like kind of other options for you to pick, and then you combine that with certain item changes. It feels like he's just a little bit less valuable, and it seems like there are side laners who are just more oppressive. I feel like you can't. I wouldn't really want to Ryoma into Roxy or Omen or even the Valheim. So I feel like he's just kind of gotten the boot. So I assume that maybe somebody on Monster Shield is a particularly good Ryoma. Just, not worth letting them have it, because I don't see Ryoma being so dangerous of a poke character and really that much of a detriment to anybody on SMG's team.
I feel like good Yomas can play Valheims to a standstill because they have such insane range. Like, neither can approach the other. Like, if one tries to come in and try, like, the Valheim tries to get in a stun a couple shots off, he's going to get whacked in the face on the backside, right? But the same thing is true for Yoma. If he tries to come in, Valheim can maybe dodge the Wailing Blade, and then he gets hurt a lot. So they kind of just dance around each other for a long time. Valheim certainly clears the way faster because he actually has auto attacks that can clear it, whereas Yoma typically clears it with his abilities. Although once you get Spectral Ire, you can clear it pretty quickly. But the more I've seen extremely potent Yomas, which, Yoma used to be a top tier character, so there's a lot of good characters who play him. I feel like it plays with Sansa. But we are finally getting into the game, and we have our typical kind of situation here. We have the Hunter's Crossbow on the crest, which is pretty interesting to look at, see how he uses that. But a little bit of an invade on the right side here. Let's see who's able to take this buff, and Chi-Chi's able to get it in the end using that punish. And over on the other side, didn't get to see what happened there. Looks like Roxy was just being a pest, but wasn't able to get that buff for themselves. But if SMG is able to get out of here with 3 buffs to 1, that is certainly a win.
Yeah, I mean, Roxy was able to roll in there and just make Omen a little annoyed, but the punish battle was fairly close. I think I want to say Mori just overcalculated it by a little bit, and I think, oh, interesting. So handing that off to Hanzo, I like that. Just when you can, because Lindis does farm so quickly, you should be fine giving up that one buff. I mean, if only does come in and gank him, that would be nice, but I mean, at this point, it feels like SMG are just a little bit more on point at the start of the game.
Yeah, typically 2 buffs and a little bit of change here is enough to pick up that level 4. So that's really creative by them actually, and yeah, Linus is just farming through, so they're just gonna pick up a lead naturally through better farm. That is the fear when playing Murad, right? SMG wisely takes advantage of the fact that Murad clears extremely slowly in the early game. And they're going to jump on this now, especially with that 4 on the Lynn, as she has her ultimate up and just lays out that damage. Crush is not feeling too good. Chi-Chi takes some damage from Murad's ultimate there. But, I mean, she's pretty much fine, as it turns out. And, ooh, Liang taken down by the Omen. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so Roxy, I don't like that matchup. Omen just kind of... And eventually Roxy can get tanky enough, but it's dangerous to fight the Omen. If you're not careful, his damage can definitely be seriously dangerous to you. So we see
Mori coming in and just gets wiped out. That was not a good idea.
Get back in there.
That was not very smart.
I was not prepared for that. I was like, no, he'll leave. He'll leave. There's no point in trying to punish and go for the steal, but he went for it anyway.
Yeah, and, well, Wei is getting extremely low as well. Hanzo's going to go in there, try to pick her up, and does. In comes only to try to get some payback, but he doesn't have his ultimate up, it seems like, and so they're going to try to invade this. SMG is only's going to get his ult off, gets lots of people low, but in comes the heal, and they're getting pushed down. Speaking of Monster Shield. But who got the buff, and then looks like it... Wait, what
Roxy.
Roxy did.
Liang managed to get it, so just kind of walked in there, didn't punish. Oh no, did punish it. So walked in, threw down the punish, and was able to steal that away.
I was so confused because I'm like, isn't that the red buff? Why does everyone have blue buffs? So, yeah, that's pretty interesting to see there. And looks like SMG is taking a pretty massive lead and kind of wasting the pick that we saw onto the Roxy from the Omen there. We had a little bit of a debate earlier when we were talking in the RPL, like, I think Roxy can hold her own against the Omen, but tipping the cap for Omen for that one, and perhaps perhaps it's the quality of the Omen that matters,
Definitely. I mean, a really good Omen can just make you think that you can win the fight, and then will just turn on you, and you're like, wait, Omen does massive damage, and you're usually not ready for it. I'm most impressed with SMG, the way they've been playing very well around the mid buff, the buff transfers, the invades, all of that experience. But we do see Raz taking a bit of damage, does back up. Hanzo punches himself out of Liang, is going to get locked down by the Omen.
Only taking a big fireball to the face there. Liang just kind of eats his ultimate like no big deal. He is not very high yet. Wow, ultimate comes out, but doesn't matter because Chaos Protection comes out as well. They are in tons of trouble. MG is going to go down. So is Mori by the looks of things, because they're going to burst right through that Metamorphosis. And that was the value of Chognar right there. Metamorphosis comes out, does nothing.
Impressive team fight from them. And actually doesn't look like Liang is done. Is going to roam in the jungle. Wanted to get that red buff. Actually,
he did. He got it.
Get it. All right.
Nice ult. That is the buff from about 5 patches ago, when it used to do all the same amount of damage, but now if you get hit by 1, it's a ton of damage, and if you get hit by more, it's less. But the way it's calculated, it ends up being around the same as far as if you get hit by all of them. But if you get hit by 1, it's way more than it used to be. So yeah, do not get hit by one of those little shards. You're going to hurt.
Yeah, in that last team fight, we got to see one incredibly well-timed Chaos Protection to stuff the Metamorphosis, but we're also seeing how well SMG have done about getting everybody to a point where Murad cannot just solo someone. Murad is not fed enough, still hasn't finished the Soul Reaver, and the damage just isn't there or just finish the Soul Reaver right now. Goes in with the ultimate, Chaos Protection forward, massive knockback in by Hanzo, and he's going to back up a little bit, and they'll steal away the dragon.
Yeah, well done by them once more. That's 2 dragons to 0 for SMG here. They are just making MS look like the team that is winless on the season so far. Sorry to put that on you guys, MS, but yeah, just SMG is certainly motivated here because they don't have that great of a record, and it
Oh,
would
this
be
is gonna be
very,
dangerous. Look at the top.
yeah, they're trying to go on to Valheim, and it looks like Serena's going to get out of Wither's life, but Mori is not, and neither is One. Both go down. Can only do something about this. Takes out Serena, but Wei is going to go down on the backside there. So a 1-for-1 trade despite 2 coming in. Let's see if Murad can get even more. Gets his ult off, but unable to get Hanzo in the end. And
Gets pulled back in.
Yeah, Liang gets the Agni's grasp and gets instantly deleted by Chi-Chi. So excellent play by Liang, just rotating over, getting that pick off. MG's going to try to get something back here, trying to get this tower. And looks like our Hanzo can't really do a whole lot about it because he would get taken down by MG here. So at the end of all that, MS gets a couple things here and there, but just looking at the gold, looking at the whole situation, they definitely took a beating.
Yeah, and you saw how, I mean, that was almost close enough for only to kill 2 targets instantly. Just doesn't have the damage. The Mirad's not there, and MG, feeling the pain of the Superman, pushed back in, finished off by Chi-Chi. That's the hate. That's the NA Solo Q Superman hate when he just pushes you back 4 times and you're just like, this is just, how did I end up in this place? What did I do wrong? Only looking to get his buff. It's gonna be, oh, okay, so manages to secure it. I thought the laser eyes, the heat vision would have finished that, but does get that Hanzo landing, a little bit of poke, and now we see SMG getting a little bit of siege.
Yeah, and that's the nerfed pushback, right? It used to be 100 units more. What is Mori doing? He pops his metamorphosis, but doesn't really...
He's making plays.
He's making...
I mean, the plays aren't going anywhere, but he's making them.
He made a river in the ground. Maybe he wants to change the landscape? I don't know what's going on there, but... yeah, not doing a whole lot with that one. Just a little bit of desperation here from MS, it looks like. Just trying to get back in this game. And like I mentioned, I think they're winless in games, not just series. They're winless in games, which would be, which is like pretty bad. And you can sort of feel the desperation by them.
Yes,
they need to make
0-10.
Yeah, so you can tell. I can see why Mori might be just so flustered that they're losing yet another game. But Hanzo's gonna get taken out here, or not.
Really? Really?
Oh, he gets taken out in the end. They took him down in the end, but they need a lot more of that for MS to come back in this game.
That's step 1. Facilitate only. Give him the opportunities to get you back in this game, because at this point you need to get Valheim late game. You need, excuse me, you need MG to be split pushing like a god, which he's done an incredibly good job of doing that to try and keep the team in the game. Now is your time to find that opportunity. But Only's going to need a few more kills, and I don't know about this dive. Going to get cut off by Genji. They used the Metamorphosis that might have been over-aggressive without having more Minion Wave, and that's the meta down, and nothing to really show for it.
The bright side is that with the latest patch, Crash does get his Metamorphosis a lot quicker this time. Liang's going to just go back right into the lane here, take a lot of damage, misses the Agni's grasp, and is going to get taken down in the end. Puts a lot of damage on the Only, though, and he's going to get taken out regardless. So is One by the looks of things. Chi-Chi is super fed at this point, and they all go down. So, baited, as they say, since Liang just threw her life away, but kept them long enough for her team to rotate. And this ends up being worse than when they started, speaking of MS.
Yeah, totally worth it for Chi-Chi. I mean, the play would have been good if they'd been able to get themselves out of there, but a double buffed Lindis who's 7-0-4, or at least would have been 5-0-4 before that really got going. I mean, it's just going to be a bad time. MG putting a little bit of fight with this Superman is going to get him low, and we'll be able to get away from there, but it doesn't look good for MS. They need to find a massive team fight.
Yeah, considering how much Superman has helped out in his team fights and just being a pest in general, the Omen just needed to wipe him out there. You know, that's his job, is to kill him outright, and unable to do so. Obviously, our Omen, it's hard for him to get fed when you're getting 0 Abyssal Dragons throughout the game. And speaking of which, we're going to get the Enraged Abyssal Dragon here for Team SMG. They're going to have both buffs on the way, so that Drake and this team fight buff finally going to get working on these towers, for which they've done not a whole lot. I mean, there's still 6 up. Usually when you have this kind of a lead, you'd figure there'd be more. But they do have a 10k gold advantage. So likely going to see these towers fall soon. Excuse me, they only had 7. They still had 7 left. But yeah, they're going to fall down right now. Ooh, big Metamorphosis comes out. Serenia going to take a lot of damage trying to push in. Chi-Chi, go! No, she had the buff. She stays alive for a little bit longer, but not long enough. Superman goes down as well. So is Hanzo. And they take no kills on the backside. That's exactly what MS wants to do to get back into this game. Only is the only one who falls. But are they still going to get some of these towers? Speaking of SMG, the Drake is still up by itself. If it doesn't take any damage from MS, it will take down this tower. Liang, can he protect it long enough? Looks like the tower is going to survive. Genji taking a lot of damage here. Wei and MG on the prowl. And they're going to get away with their lives, but push is on the bottom here.
I mean, if you're MS, that was the miracle fight you needed. You just got a good chunk of gold onto a lot of members. Your Omen is starting to become a serious danger to the point where he's chunking down those tanks. I mean, he was the only person to die in that. It would have been nice if he'd survived, but he's getting close to those items. He's getting close to that late game Murad, where if Raz or Lindis are left alone, we did see Chi-Chi get bursted down incredibly quickly. Had the Drake buff to survive a little bit longer, but that at the end of the day. So you're starting to reach that dangerous point where if you let this Murad get into your backline, we could see SMG let this one slip through their fingers.
Right. I just don't see how they're ever going to get a better situation than that, speaking of MS. And then I'm including, even if they somehow manage to miraculously equal the gold mount, right? Because they're never going to get on Lindis like that again. She's never been in trouble because there's no one to actually get on her except for the Murad. And even he has trouble teleporting to her because she can just run really quick through those bushes. And, you know, we've seen Chi-Chi this entire time play extremely safely. And this is a bit, I mean, Lang's going to get caught out here, but this is better. They need their tanks to be able to scout out these bushes. I would play-by-play this, but Lang's fine. So it's just like...
yeah, and they're not going to kill Mori. Like, Mori's just kind of like, all right, I'll walk away from this. I mean, one Metamorphosis used for the health bars of your opponents. Anything that isn't a loss, I think, is a gain for... Like, anything that doesn't result in anybody dying, even if you have to burn resources, is just, like, MS, they're just looking for the late game. They're praying.
Right, speaking of praying, they might get click on the Genji here. He pops the heal, gets out of there potentially. Serenia going to do a lot of damage onto Wei. I don't think he's going to get this kill though, but in the meantime, Mori is going to go down to that Lindis. So it looks for like a 1-for-1 trade, but maybe not because Lang is pushing down this bottom lane. Okay, see, that seemed like a somewhat even fight. SMG probably came out ahead, but you look at the end of it and it's like, wait, that's a 4v5. So, yeah.
It definitely doesn't look good. I want to see where this Murad build goes. Maybe there's something that would let them kind of sneak through the situation. Maybe there's... I'm trying to think of whether or not there's an item I truly believe will give him that opportunity. MG is going to step in that bush. They put a little bit of pressure on Liang. Going to pull him back. He is low, but what a pull onto one. He's gone. Hanzo steps in there. He's taking a lot of damage from the Crixie, but he'll be fine. And even with only stepping in there and popping the ultimate, they all have to run. And Lindis picks up one more kill.
Yeah, that was such an interesting situation because Liang was taking so much damage. Hanzo comes in there, just demolishes. I think it was one and only. The one and only. Oh my goodness, I just realized that. But yeah, it ended up not being that good in the end, even for MS, despite the fact that they were getting so darn low. And looks like we have the Dark Slayer up once more. If SMG gets this, they're guaranteed one high ground tower, and probably more than that even.
Omen fighting Crixie, that might be able to go into a good 1v1. I mean, they know this is happening. I think the only thing they can hope is that Omen wins that 1v1, and it doesn't look like MG is willing to commit onto that fight against Liang.
Well, they do secure it. Lynn is able to do that all by her lonesome, and just the 16% lifesteal. So just goes to show how dang damagey she is. See how they are able to take advantage of this Dark Slayer buff. They might actually pick up the Abyssal as well. Keep in mind they do have the Abyssal Curse, which means that they do 50% less damage to the Abyssal, but probably going to be able to burn them down pretty easily regardless. And MS is not even going to try to contest it because they know that they're just going to eat a lot of hurt if they do decide to do so. And yeah.
I actually think they just weren't aware, because now they're stepping in this. Mori's going to take a bunch of damage, gets knocked back, pops the Metamorphosis, mostly to help them get out of there. All the members being pushed. But they've actually got Omen split pushing down the mid lane. They're looking for a split fight here to just get anything that they possibly can. Omen will be pursued by Superman and forced away from that. And it looks like the members of MS will be able to walk away from this. And they've managed to split things up. So that's time burned on those buffs, but that's Metamorphosis down.
Yeah, I would say that that's good crisis management by SMG, realizing we only need to send one person back. We could just send the Superman, and he's not going to die to the Omen. He can just stall long enough. Looks like the Drake is going to be burning down this tower, which opens up a lot of real estate here for SMG, and they're going to turn around and potentially jump onto this Omen, though he is pretty fast. Especially with his untouchable potentially. He gets the Death's Embrace. They're getting pushed back by Superman regardless. He says, I don't give an F, and gets in their way. He's getting chunked down as well. Can they get onto them? Looks like the Omen came back for a moment there. That's why they were stalling there from SMG. They don't take much damage from the Murad Ultimate at all. They end up taking out Omen in the end, pushing on to this mid-ground tower right now. And yeah, looks like we have still a 5v3. Excuse me, 5v2. And this might be game.
Yeah. This is probably over. One high ground tower down, two high ground towers down. Wei gets hit again. Does manage to knock them up, and one, he is not the one. He will not save the team, and that's going to be the end. And SMG picking up the win.
Yep, pretty much expected there. Even though on the surface we have a 1-4 team going against an 0-5 team, SMG has historically been really good. They've just been struggling this season. They've also played against a lot of top-tier teams. I think the worst team that they've lost to is HKA, who is like 5th in the league. So all their losses have been to top-tier teams, and I feel like they are on the comeback trail. That said, MS really hasn't shown the greatest team play throughout. I gotta say though that just looking at that, I felt like MS was at least on par with some of the mid-tier teams in RPL. Yeah, they made some mistakes there, but it seemed like they were rotating okay. And SMG was on their case the entire time.
I mean, SMG closed the window for Murad to really pop off. Basically, they identified exactly when he was going to be most dangerous. That level 4 to level 6 area where he can come and just obliterate somebody. What do? They go for an early buff invade to get to 4 way faster. They share the buff so that the mid laner is going to be 4 faster, so he can then back up the Lindis. And they have Chognar ready to instantly protect Lindis at any given time. Murad never really found Lindis out, and the one time we saw a good team fight was when the 2 tanks weren't there. So I think SMG identified how to stop their opponent. It wasn't really that Monster Shield played that badly. It's just they missed the window on their comp.
Yeah, and look at the damage here from Murad, 19%. And we saw a lot of those ults go off and just wasn't doing enough damage. And Chi-Chi just completely uncontested, had a 15 overall score, only that one death when she got completely caught out. Otherwise, she would have had even higher score. And yeah, just not a whole much of a contest. Wei tried to do as much damage as she possibly could, but a lot of empty calories as well, because she wasn't really converting that into kills in the end.
I also think it's a composition on the side of SMG with reasonably high health bars. Chognar, Superman, right. Roxy. Three of the 5 are going to tend to be a little bit on the tankier side, so there wasn't... the only 2 squishies were Raz and Lindis. Lindis had great protection, and Raz got, far enough into the build where he felt confident picking fights.
Yep, so it looks like they've decided that SMG Serenia was the key player there on the Superman. I mean, he did a good job. Let's just say that. I don't know. It was just overall a team demolition here from SMG to Monster Shield, in
I
my
can agree
opinion.
with that analysis from the perspective that the Superman stopped the Omen from doing that sneaky backdoor and did a good job of just disrupting the backline, not really giving the side of Monster Shield an opportunity to do a lot of stuff. It was definitely a strong team effort, but I can agree with being like Superman did his job and he did it well.
Yeah, he also had like one death against an Omen, which is it's like at some point not completely getting owned by someone who's supposed to counter you is you means you're doing a good job, you know?
So
Are you okay?
no, I was just moving. It's early. It's early in the morning here, man.
Yeah. Well, it is currently 7:43 p.m. in Taiwan where this is taking place.
Late night games. All right, so is Monster Shield gonna go 0-12?
I kind of think so. After that last game, SMG.
I,
Okay, I haven't watched all the games. I think SMG's looked reasonable, even in their losses. But there's just so many teams in this league who are just scary. Like I feel like if you take the sixth place team in this league, they would be in first place in all of the Valor Series regions. Maybe
oof.
not like
Ooh, the
North.
flames.
I mean, because who's better than them? If you took SMG, I guess SMG is maybe a bad comparison because they are perhaps better than the record. I suppose Mad Team isn't that great. So like Hong Kong Attitude, say SMG, deserves to be in the top 4 or 5, right? And then Hong Kong Attitude's been really good. Like I feel like Hong Kong Attitude would definitely be like at least first or second in every league. Maybe they'd be second to like Allegiance or like Nova, even though Dead Rabbits is somehow tied for first in Europe. Um, I don't know. I feel like the
I,
consistent quality
I would
is
totally agree that they would run the table in Brazil and they would definitely be top 3 NA. I don't know. I think because of the differences in the meta, it'd be curious, but like skill for skill, punch for punch, like play for play, I can agree with that for the most part.
right.
I don't know. I like I wouldn't want to say that they would dominate at the top of the table. Like
I guess what I'm trying to say.
SMG would be a contender. SMG could go punch for punch. I think with pretty much everyone in NA and EU.
I guess what I'm trying to say is like SMG. It wasn't like some fluke that they got to this point. Like the games they lost, yes, they were highly contested and they were a little bit unlucky, but the teams they played against were also capable of beating them.
Hmm.
And that last game, SMG just ran over MS, and it's not like MS played that poorly either. It was just amazing play by SMG. So I'm just kind of in awe right now of the consistent quality throughout this league. Anyway, let's talk about this draft right now. A little bit of a switch up in the bands. Looks like MS decided to, as the loser, pick first this time. And that resulted in the switch from SMG going on the ban to Slims to now going on the ban to Mina, which certainly makes sense, especially if they can't secure the Chognar, which they're able to do now. So we have identical picks so far, which is not good for MS because I don't think they're going to win with the same drafts on both sides.
I'd like to see. I'd like to see a different jungler pick,
Yeah.
unless they're going to play Murad in a very different way.
The only way they can play Murad is if they pick the Flash as well. They need multiple members to pressure the backline. They can't if they pick this Crixie, they cannot go Murad. It's just not going to work. Maybe Tulin could work. Tulin Murad could work maybe, but this needs to be the Wayne just needs to be all out balls to the wall, getting into that backline and just not caring about his own life. Because they need to kill that Lindis.
Okay. The Omen and the Tulin shift them a bit there's a bit better dive. There's some more follow up.
Well, they had Omen last game.
Well, no, but like just by having the Tulin, I think that they're in a slightly better position.
SMG's like we give,
like
we don't give it a crap because they're having the same exact draft.
No, they're gonna run it back. But no, like Crushed Omen isn't a bad pick combo. It was just the rest of it couldn't really work with it.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with opening with this and the Tulin adaptation, but if I see Murad, I don't.
Joker
scares me.
Okay, who's their jungler? Joker? Tulin?
No. Tulin maybe.
You can jungle Joker. It's possible. With Soul Reaver.
I mean, anything's possible.
Maganga jungle? They're like, wait a second. I would no, this is proven to not work. Okay.
Yeah, Slim
I would rather I mean, they're 0-11, right? 0-11 in games, I should say. I would like to see them try something different.
I mean, Murad is different. I want to see them try something basic.
They just tried the Murad. That's not trying it if it's already failed. And it's, like, proven to have failed. You know what I'm saying? It's not...
Yeah.
It's not even like, oh, that didn't work because, unfortunate circumstances or X and Y and Z. If we just did this different. Like, no, it was like... definitely was not going to work. We saw it play out. Just it was never going to work, and now they're running it back, and I just don't see. And
is.
And then look at this. SMG just picks the Superman into the Omen. They just pick
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like the SMG, I am totally okay with what they're doing because if they win this, so here's the thing: is they need to win this from a morale standpoint to have that dominant stomp of the lowest team. Because right now, they're the second lowest team. They stomp this, and they're going to be like, all right, we're back. We're not losing to a bad team. It's time for us to go take some swings at the better teams in the league. It's time for us to get back to the top of the table, right? If I'm MS right now, I'm just
get a win.
If your uniqueness doesn't work, maybe it's time to play standard.
Well, I'm fine with them playing unique. It's just that once it fails spectacularly, and again, in a way in which it was obvious it was never going to work, then I feel like it's time to give up on it. Like, we just saw the Murad wasn't going to work. Maybe they can't... I mean, I would have honestly been better with just picking the Marja, picking the Joker. I guess the one issue is that Joker clears even slower than Murad does. So perhaps that was what they were concerned about. What did they end up going with in the end, though? By the way, so they have
Crushed Omen, Tulin, Joker, Murad.
Crushed Omen. So are they gonna play support Joker or support Crushed? I'm guessing support Crushed and then Joker in the side lane.
Probably support Crushed. I mean, this has way higher potential to blow up a target.
Right. I do like the Joker. I do like the Joker because he can get in, he can use pick a card, any card, get right up to Linda's, hopefully. I mean, maybe not because she's really fast, but get in there, use canned laughter, blow her up. Once you get 4 items as Joker, you can literally one-shot either the Raz or the Linda. So there's that.
Yeah, and you combine that with Tulin being able to get there more in the mix. Like, this is a more cohesive team composition from MS. It has a much clear, defined set of win conditions. And to be honest, I think with the canned laughter, with that burst, and how much armor penetration Joker's going to build, there's far more opportunity for him to kill maybe, the Chognar, maybe the Superman. Like, you may actually kill those targets in this scenario.
Right. There's a lot more aggressive heroes here from they have the same lineup except for the Tulin and the Joker, but you compare the Tulin and the Joker to Crixie and Valheim, there's a lot more dive that they can utilize to get onto that back line, get onto either the Raz or the Lindis. Looks like Mori is just trying to go for a little bit of an invade here, just be a nuisance, but doesn't end up doing a whole lot other than just pulling Liang and Genji back, and Chi-Chi's going to just be on her merry way.
I mean, it helps to guarantee the idea that they're not being invaded upon, which was a problem. Being that buff behind slows down the Murad. I would also say that even with the Crash and the Omen being being from that previous lineup, if the rest of your team is willing to follow up on you, there's a far higher confidence to make plays. But we see Mori gonna get knocked up, gets a push back, jumps away with the shield. Way will be able to help escort him out of there. And I think that that right there is the key point. Because the rest of the team is a little bit more likely to get in there, they're under a little bit less pressure and there's more freedom from the tanks to move forward.
Right. The heroes complement each other this time instead of just being this discombobulated mix of poke and dive and etc. But yeah, the Crest can't really do a whole lot if your team is not willing to get in there, which is the reasoning behind this. Looks like teams are congregating around this Abyssal Dragon here. See a little party bush on the left side here. Party bushes, I should say, because they're in 3 at the same time, interestingly enough, trying to get that scout on. But they came from the right side. MS, a little bit of trickery there. And 4 members from both sides really just sharking around this area. Can they take it down? They do, which is very nice for them. That's why you build that double punish there. And SMG says, well, we didn't have good position. We are confident in our ability to win this game as long as you don't get snowballed out of it. I like that. I like just letting it go.
Yeah. It wasn't worth trying to pick the fight piece. They had to come in from multiple angles. And I don't think the Superman's not 4 yet. So he doesn't have his ultimate. He's not going to be able to kind of dive in the back line and just guarantee that he can displace the team. So it was smart to not over-aggress themselves. Now, however, we see a slightly different scenario than last time. Last time, MS was behind from the get-go. Now they're a little bit more even. Does a more even team mean that the Maraud finds more opportunities? I think it does. I want to see how well SMG look to shut him down, because now we're entering the danger zone for Maraud, where he's terrifying if you catch one person out of position. And we do see Lindis and Chognar buddy system never go anywhere alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like Genji's going to take a lot of that damage for that Lindis here. But in comes Serenia with the pushback. Big ultimate from Maraud, but he gets taken down immediately afterward. And that was just a freight train. SMG just ran in and walked over them and walked away. Like, all right, we're done here. We got what we came for. Goodbye, Muret. And that is huge in stopping his farm up. But in comes a Metamorphosis. They're going to try to take this out. Hanzo gets extremely low. Gets taken out really nice here from the side of MS. And that's what we want to see from Monster Shield. Getting that aggression in. And already the Joker and the Tulin picks paying off.
Yeah, put away on something aggressive. Let him dive. Let him get in there. Let him snipe. Ooh, that was dangerous.
1 HP.
And there's another fight on the other side. They get the death sentence on to Liang. They're going to get some extra damage in from Only. If I'm Omen, I back away from this because that is some solid damage. And just Roxy can be so scary. Definitely has those lifesteal arcana to just kind of sit there and heal up. But no, that's a good balance of plays. Window open for Maraud, shut by the side of SMG, and then instantly MS answer back. It seems that aggressive, more forward-thinking, more active composition seem to complement them far better, and they will secure themselves a second dragon.
Very well played by them, and yeah, they're secured 1,000 gold lead. I want to know what their biggest gold lead in any particular game is for Monster Shield. This could be it right here. We're not too sure. I haven't watched all their games. So yeah, not to make too much fun of them, but they are playing well this game. And looks like SMG is on the hunt right here. Wow, big fight coming out here. The Thunderbird doesn't quite get the kill that it wants, but the Only's ultimate goes in there. Liang just doesn't give any craps about that one, and able to take them out through all of that. Able to almost take out Wei as well, but she has to go down in the end. She is somewhat fast on those roller skates, but not quite fast enough. And at the end of that is a 2-for-2 for either side. But no,
Hanzo.
One going in, getting lots of damage and misses the rocket. And he is able to get out of there scot-free, but gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Speaking of this middle tower here, Chi-Chi lays down one of her traps, but unable to finish that off in time before MSG MG gets a bit of damage on that tower.
Just needs to change his name to G.
Yeah,
that right there is the top tier meme. No, this is a far better performance coming out from MS. We're seeing them be willing to take fights, not back down from everything. Granted, Liang's doing serious work as the Roxy, and now MG might be in trouble. Does
Agnes
decide
Grass,
to try
maybe?
and move away and gets under the tower. Actually pulls him back in and dodges the Agnes Grasp, so should be fine there. There is no objective to be taken on the other side of the map, but jukes out Chi-Chi, and the rest of the team knows that they can kind of safely move. They don't have to worry about the Lindis for like 2 seconds, and now Lindis is already... And Lindis is too quick.
Well, look at the crest in the bottom lane. Even with the Joker, even without the Joker there earlier, just pushing in the Superman and just being super aggressive. And I kind of like this, right? You don't know your limitations until you get super aggressive like this. Looks like MS is going to try to secure their third Abyssal Dragon. One got a bit of damage on someone with that can launcher. Not really sure who. But yeah, bringing this down. And yeah, that's that burst damage, especially from someone like Tula, and able to burst that down right at the right moment so that SMG can't really do anything about it.
It's incredibly good team coordination to be pressuring the way they are. I'm just I worry. I worry what happens when we get into a true team fight, because what we've seen so far is these split scenarios where Crash is really breaking things up, and that's what MS wants. They want these nice skirmishes where they can focus on dealing with one target, but Liang put a lot of pressure on the way, was able to finish only. If there's a bit more support and he steps forward, gets a little bit of pressure from Chi-Chi, puts the damage on Serenia, he will go down, the Metamorphosis comes out, and it pushes the team back. I don't know if they decide to dive this, but they have got plenty of health bars to do Genji. So more poke on the Genji. Will eat another rocket to the face, and it's all about the skirmish for MS. They're fighting back, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for SMG to just snap the trap shot on them.
I'm waiting for these fights to get even more explosive, because as our members farm up even more, we're going to have so much damage coming out from the Murad and the Joker just instantly deleting people. And on the other side, we have the same thing going for the Lindis and the Raz. So these supports need to be on their game, or else their backlines are going to melt.
Good double support. Junglers helping out these side laners. Liang gets pulled back. Death Sentence was used, so just walk away at this point. Did Agnes Embrace get used? No, it didn't. So resource expended for the small window that it will afford.
Alright, so Serenia playing cleanup here in the bottom lane, trying to hold off this Joker and Koresh, but Koresh shifting his sights toward this jungle, just being an annoying Sharkman thingy as they take out this mid tower. So good pressure here coming in from MS once more, pushing out those outer lanes and shifting their focus toward the mid. We see the Darkslayer come up, so that could be a potential point of contention going forward. Mori just being extremely annoying, but wasting a lot of damage from that tower. Stranger trying to push him in, but he gets caught out, taken out by the Can Latcher. In comes Metamorphosis, plus also the Chaos Protection there to protect the team. And both teams are a bit low, speaking of Wei and Hanzo here, so a bit tentative to go in there. That buff was picked up by Mori in the end. That's why he picked that punish. And they get out of there with a lot of damage. Speaking of damage, the Omen's doing so much here. I feel like, how is he getting so much damage on without damaging himself? Kind of interesting enough.
Health percentage. Gotta be the health percentage versus the fact that there's been a lot of split build from SMG. He hasn't actually finished a single tier 3 item other than Leviathan. So I'm just assuming that the Fenrir's is, or the Fafnir's is doing its job. And I mean, Omen gets scary if you just let him hit you.
Do not want to let someone who's known for auto attacks hit you, I suppose. But
well, it's just like like when you trade with an Omen, like it can be very, very deceptive. But we do see that that Omen damage, along with only MG and only, will finish off this Darkslayer, and this is, I mean, I don't want to jinx MS, but it looks like they might win this game. They are going to get the lockdown onto Liang. They use the death sentence. He is surviving for a very long time, and his team isn't really able to join him, and he will be finished off.
A little bit of overconfidence there from Liang. He's like, oh yeah, I can survive through this, but not realizing that the Can Latcher was coming in there. That and the Thunderbird able to finish him off. Serena's going to go for a little bit of a split push while he realizes that the rest of the team is up top. On his tail is the Omen on MG, but this level 2 tower here is going to go down. SMG is trying to... oh, wow! Chi-Chi gets extremely low. That's the damage from the Omen... Excuse me, from the Mirror. That's what we've been looking for. Damage coming out from the Joker as well. In comes his passive. Trying to get the damage into them. Marauder takes a little bit of beating, but this tower will fall even without the minion wave. And MS is looking extremely good here, taking down towers, being extremely aggressive, jumping on SMG when they have the opportunity. Even MG able to not only push back the Superman, but put pressure on this high ground tower. They are taking it to SMG.
It's a dangerous time when you don't shut down the Marauder, and MS did a far better time protecting him. He now has legitimate damage, and I mean, Joker and Tulin have also just individually been doing incredibly well. So we are starting to see a massive gold lead build for MS, and they are playing with a confidence that we didn't see in game one.
It's different.
I haven't given up on SMG just yet, but the damage is starting to get to a dangerous point where Hanzo cannot safely engage. And if I'm Lindis, that's just Chi-Chi needs to be careful.
Yeah, it's so much more difficult to deal with waves of heroes coming at you rather than just the Murad. But speaking of which, MG's trying to get in there. He's going to get extremely low himself. Tries to get the Death Embrace on Chi-Chi, but he's going to get taken down low. Only is extremely low as well. And this is the fight that SMG wanted. Chi-Chi gets low herself, though, has to run away. And Genji goes down. So maybe I spoke too soon. But they really kind of wanted that Death Ball fight. But in the end, MS able to come out of there. I gotta believe that's that gold advantage that they have, because their members were extremely low at the beginning of that fight, but able to just wear it out and wear down the members of SMG there.
Well, there's also the fact that we had to see Chi-Chi retreat. Chi-Chi had to get out of there. That's a huge chunk of time, maybe 3 or 4 seconds in the middle of that team fight where members are low and can't finish anybody off, but does manage to catch out MG. MG is very, very tanky, gets pulled in, but Chi-Chi will finish the job. And I mean, any kill you can get at this point, that's going to be another Abyssal Dragon. And we've seen every Abyssal Dragon in this game go over to MS, but the members of SMG are collapsing. Hanzo is here. He's looking for the right opportunity. Damage on the way, gets the knockup, but he just gets slowed down. It only took a second for them to finish him off. Here comes Genji in there to back up Chi-Chi, but Chi-Chi, again, has already been forced out. They need to somehow get this to leash back, get some time to open things up again. Another ultimate comes out from Only. Mori is zoning them off. SMG have been rebuffed. The buff has been reset, but they are not in a great position to take this fight, and Serenia does need to back up. Lindis off clearing waves, needs a couple more items. That's what the Superman ultimate has been used. They're putting damage on the way. They aren't going to be able to get anything, and they're only now under pressure to push back onto Li Ying. They're going to get the Thunderbird out. They finish him off. Only comes in and gets another kill. This Moron is getting dangerous. The slow and Genji, the canned laughter, finishes him off, and the last one laughing is one, as the members of MS are going to be able to push down mid.
Yeah, just that the Joker passive so strong. Using the pick a card, any card, to get in close. Uses that gun to slow him down and then finish the job off with that canned laughter. That's why I feel like Joker is just underutilized in a lot of these leagues here. You could just pick off someone, do so much damage, and not only that, he's kind of like the mage version of Raz. You just sit there, you fire off your rocket all game, and when it comes down to it, you have that burst damage to get in there and finish off someone like Linus, even in that case, a Chognar. And MS is certainly controlling this game here, up 11,000 gold. I think we're going to see MS's first victory.
Let's not jinx them just yet, but it does look good. Both of their physical damage carries between the Marauder and the Joker, they've both hit what is effectively the maximum armor penetration. They are going to be destroying Chi-Chi if Chi-Chi is in a bad position. Only will take some damage. They watched where he was going to be, but it is just the clear game for the side of SMG. Item-wise, Lindis is close to being able to get her Fafnir. She gets that, and maybe we see these team fights turn around, get that health percentage damage in to finish off Mori, who has been surviving incredibly long in these team fights. Out comes the Metamorphosis. That's going to be the pushback. Chaos Protection to separate all of them away is in the middle of the fight. Genji is still surviving. He's taking a lot of damage, but here comes Only. He almost finishes Chi-Chi, but it's not going to be enough. First member will go down. It is Li Yang. Mori jumps underneath the tower. Good work from Superman to be able to clear out those minions, but another wave has now appeared in mid. They are down one member, and they're going to need a miracle of a team fight to be able to defend up against this. They're going to push back the minions. Only's actually super low. This could be too dangerous for the members of MS. MG goes in, gets some pressure onto Chi-Chi, but he will fall down. Superman trying to CC as many targets as possible, but hasn't gone back in yet, and it is Raz who is the one to fall. They are stepping forward. They need to get on one. They need to get on Only, and it's over.
Just way too much damage, and the first win here for MS in the entire league. We are 5 weeks in. I believe this is our 6th week of the regular season, and MS picks up their first win. I want to see them like celebrating. I guess if you celebrate too much, it looks bad, right? But
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if this were the FGC, like people popping off it'd be fine. I'd be popping off for my first win. But yeah, this is week 6. They have not picked up a game in week 5. They will not go 0-12. They are 1-11 now.
that was really well played by them. If it seems like I haven't seen all of Monster Shield's game, but all of their games. But if they play an aggressive lineup like that, it works extremely well for them. It looks like. I mean, they just took it to SMG. It's not like SMG made that many mistakes. In fact, I guess you could say they were overly cautious. But other than that, they really didn't seem that bad. Speaking as SMG, it seemed like Monster Shield was like a completely different team there.
I'd say they let things go even, and the yield of the first dragon wasn't bad, but the fact that they lost the second, I think, was where the gold started to get out of control. And then you tack on 1 kill, and then you tack on another kill, and then you know, the Murad is not behind, which means his damage is equivalent to the scaling armor of the Lindis, and now Lindis is now in danger, and Raz can't go in and one-shot people. Like, on the fight around the 4th Abyssal Dragon, he goes in, almost pops 2 targets, and then just gets stunned for 1 second, and he's gone.
I love how Wei didn't die a single time, even though he had like 25% damage sitting under a tower. Just pops out Arctic Orb like, I'm good. I'll just sit here. Wei is doing massive damage, by the way. 30% damage in both games so far. He is popping off.
Yeah. This time it was able to convert. They actually converted that into some kills. Mori survived incredibly long in the middle of those team fights. I'd say the Metamorphosis angles were really good. There were a lot of times where it stopped Chi-Chi from being able to maneuver into a brush. It's like, do I want to walk into the slow to get the buff? I can't do that, so I have to just leave the fight.
Yeah, it was also just more impactful damage, in my opinion, getting onto the squishies rather than just having all your Crixie damage go to that front line. But yeah, I don't know if they did this on purpose, speaking of Monster Shield, but it seemed like their composition was set up in a way that all their heroes hit their spikes at the right time. Like, Tulin's obviously an amazing early game hero, so he hit a spike early, especially after they got the Abyssal Dragon. And then after that, Murad was doing a ton of damage. And then all of a sudden, we have Joker on 4 items, and he's just, obliterating people as well. So it feels like everyone hit their stride at a different time and allowed them to snowball the game throughout.
They kind of have their composition allowed for basically a domino effect of item spikes. Like, Murad needed to get to like 2 to 3 items before he was really good, and like Joker needed 1 to 2 items, and Tulin is good with just an Orb of the Magi. Like, he starts to do what he's supposed to do, and so like Tulin got to the orb, Joker got to the rank breaker plus some additional damage because he was moving into Fenrir's Tooth, and Murad got like through his core of his build.
Yeah, I would say, having played quite a bit of Joker, that you need like 3 to 3.5 items for Joker, and then once you hit your 4th, you're just melting people. We have a question in chat. What is this GCS? GCS is Taiwan's AOV league. It is, how much money is in this league?
100,000 or more.
Hold on.
It's 348,000 Taiwan, which is about 100,000 US.
That's 3,480,000 Taiwan dollars.
3 million.
Yeah, which is $104,000 Taiwan league. It's kind of like, if you've seen the Valor series, this is the Taiwanese version of that. Yeah, it's really popular. It contains Taiwan's representative at the AWC. In J Team, it has the world champion Korean roster in AHQ. And yeah, basically, I would say this is the highest skill league in the world. It's between this league and the RPL in Thailand, but just the depth of skilled teams and skilled players, I would probably say that this is the highest skill league in the world, especially if you consider the fact that world champion Korea is in this league. So the reason why we're doing this is because a lot of people probably don't know about it, especially in the West. I mean, I would say that a few hardcore fans know about the GCS, and so we want to get those fans obviously in here to talk about it. We also want to get new viewers who maybe don't know about the GCS in here. We also cast the RPL earlier this week, so if you want to check that out as well, you can go ahead and look at my VODs. But yeah, starting this week, I wanted to start casting these other leagues, as you can see over here, Unofficial English broadcast. So we're just doing this. We're doing on top of the Taiwanese broadcast, and yeah, just trying to get it out to the people. I have the source with me. I'm D2. In other casts, I've done it either by myself or with Niberia. So yeah, having a lot of fun with it.
So, do they keep playing the Maraud? that I think is like, I'm just like, this Maraud seems to be key for them.
I want to get back. Okay, since so Aiden Spence says I've been watching the Valor series, but might get into this. I think that the players in the Valor series, they watch this a lot because that's where they get a lot of their ideas from. I know that at least since last year when SMG completely yes, this SMG who's struggling with Monster Shield, when SMG completely destroyed the world in last year's AIC. From then on, all of the Western teams just look to study them and look to study what they're doing, what kind of builds they have, how their play style. So certainly the Western teams are taking notes and watching this. Not this particular stream, but at least watching the VODs and what have you. And seeing what kind of build that these players come up with. For certain, like Hanzo and Genji are two of the most popular players in the world who are on SMG, and you know their YouTube channels are pretty huge and people study them a lot. So alright, now that we've got that out of the way and kind of explained this whole shebang. Sorry. The Murad ban. Nice.
I mean, get the respect. Game 1 they shut it down, Game 2 they thought they could do it again, and it didn't work. And it started to become a problem. Also, you've seen Only play it twice. Put him on something else, see if there's a better opening.
Yeah, and it seems to SMG and to me as well that this is MS's one strategy. Right? They go with the Maraud, they try different comps around him and see how it works. And that last comp worked, but let's see if they have a completely different strategy. And if you're a lower tier team like MS, then I bet you that SMG is just banking on them not having a great second strategy that they can execute.
I'd be curious to see if they can pull off the same strategy with, say, like a Batman.
No, you'd have to pick Necroth. Batman is not gonna. You need the same crazy mobility to get in and get out, and that's been typically the move for assassin junglers in the GCS. At least from what I've seen, is if they either go for Necroth or they go for Murad, and there's nothing really else. Like Batman, I saw Batman from AHQ, and who is by the way the world champions. They're the Korean roster, and it just failed spectacularly. So, yeah, anyway, that's my opinion.
That's fair.
Any other marks? Any other assassin junglers? I don't think Krignac would really work. I mean, it might, but he's kind of a different character. He doesn't get in and out. He just gets in and kills people.
Yeah.
Maybe Zephys? Zephys is kind of different too, but I feel like Zephys is being a bit underrated.
Yeah.
He's gotten buff after buff as well.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something happened, and just in the way Zephys played, I don't know if it was something with just me, but when I was playing him, like I started playing him and he felt really, really good, and then all of a sudden something happened, and I just like felt like I couldn't play him properly anymore. I couldn't land Death from Above.
Marksman junglers. Oh yeah, Death from Above has this weird bug sometimes when you can't get it off.
Yeah, so I think it was just a change in the way the animation worked to the point where it's just not as clean to execute. And part of what makes him so good is just that ability to land on a target. Like you could land on a Lindis, and just that was a great way to answer somebody like her.
But, well, yeah, it's a lot of his. Other than the fact that he's extremely tanky and has extremely low cooldowns on his abilities, his biggest asset in a lot of ways is Death from Above, because a massive AoE stun, and it allows him to deal more damage to everyone. including like doing magic damage on every hit. So it's pretty big. We do see some shifts in our draft so far. Liang going to be on, excuse me, probably Serenia is going to be on the Omen this time rather than them picking up the Superman / Roxy. We did see SMG ban potentially their own Roxy, which is interesting. So maybe they envisioned MS going for the Roxy pick once they ban out the Murad. And looks like we have a much more standard comp here, potentially, in the Slims. And going back to that nice poke comp here for MS. And is that the overall win rate in the league? 40% on Lindis?
I'm going to assume so.
Wow. I am flabbergasted. My gas is flabbered. What? 40?
I'll hopefully be able to confirm that for us tomorrow. I'll take a note of that, and when I'm done doing the quick maths, I'll double check that. But I'm gonna guess that's the league. It might be for SMG, but that wouldn't mathematically make sense. So that has to be the league. They haven't won enough games for that.
Right. Well, the RM was picked up for MS earlier on in the draft as well. That's another change. And looks like we're going to have Annette. If you guys are unaware, Annette is one of the heroes that's been out on Taiwan. Actually, in Taiwan, Annette came up before Emily. She's been out for a while. Strangely enough, in Thailand, it was the opposite. But Annette will come. Oh, they don't pick Annette in the end. But Annette will be coming out next week, I think. So it's a bit of a departure from their usual release schedule. And that's, I believe, to make up for the fact that they had no heroes between Roxy and Emily for a long time. But yeah, I think after we get Ebeneth this week, we'll get Annette next week. So look forward to that. She's really fun. Her kit looks really cool. And gonna have the Joker once more. Double marksman. Joker's a bit of a mage assassin marksman that does physical damage. He's kind of like a Raz in a sense, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Long range Mina. I don't want them to go the double marksman there because we already yeah,
it doesn't make sense, right?
They're already playing this bit more of a backline composition, and I think if they ended up with the maybe the Valheim, if they ended with the Joker, I feel like they're gonna mix up what they're supposed to be doing.
I agree. I'd rather go with the Mina here and have the triple front line and just have your Crixie and your Slims just do a bunch of damage from the back. I guess they were not comfortable having Crest in the sideline. If you guys aren't aware, if you do go for the double support with Crest and Mina, that's what makes Crest so good, because you can play Crest in the sideline as well, and he's capable of doing that. Perhaps Mori just isn't comfortable, or perhaps, One isn't comfortable playing him in the sideline, so that could be what we're looking at here, is just uncomfortability with heroes in certain roles.
Yeah, I'd also say that I agree that feels like that has to be it, because if you look at their composition, RM wants to go forward, Kresh wants to go forward, Crixie wants to go forward, but only when the tanks are massively disrupting what's going on, and Slims wants to skirt around the fight. Joker doesn't really fit that at all, so it has to kind of be comfort. And now I think we're putting MS on a very specific clock of they need to find some kills so that Joker can be really oppressive and kind of just free roam in terms of damage and not really need to worry about getting dove. On the other side, I don't know. If I'm Joker, I'm terrified. Alice is going to drop the silent, oh god, Alice is just going to make Joker's life a living hell.
Yeah, especially because a lot of times he's going to try to use his pick a card, any card, to get in there, and then when the slow comes down through his path, he's gonna be like, "Oh, darn."
Hissy fit sunshine. I'm done. Shock hissy fit sunshine. I'm done. Hissy fit and anything from Raz. I'm done. So the Joker play is going to need to be top tier to kind of avoid that, or we're going to need to see some really aggressive rotations and invades so that you never end up in a scenario where it's like a good setup team fight. The battle lines are drawn, and SMG find that opportunity. I definitely like SMG's draft more.
It also goes to show how difficult it is to be a professional player, because it's like, oh wait, I have to play this side later, and I know I have to learn how to play Crush as well. Like, really? It's like all these conflicting heroes just to play a variety of team styles, and this might be the downfall for MS in this series if their lack of hero pool lets them down.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to have 3 or 4 heroes in your role so that you can get banned in you know, if they're burning all of their bans on you, then someone else is getting something. But it's gonna be rough, and I want to see how well MG plays the ARM, because ARM can be a massive playmaker for the team and just facilitate whole other levels of aggression. Clearly understands how to play the matchup versus the Malik and avoid a lot of that damage, but that's going to be a big one.
I love the dance between Malik and ARM, because if you don't know, Malik has extra range on his melee attacks. He actually has double the range. Most heroes have 200 range. He has 400. And so he actually outranges the beasts from ARM, but obviously it's really hard to get off because it's a really thin window. So I love the dance between them where he's like trying to poke, but it's not really poke. He just kind of gets hit by the beast if he gets too close. But, well, we have a little bit of a bush party here from SMG. It looks like they're going to give up on that as I see lots of heroes congregating in the top. And they're going to go ahead and rotate over here, potentially take the blue buff from MS, or just go back to the bush party and set up for this Abyssal Dragon as it is coming up. And Mori's getting extremely low, doesn't have his ultimate, so that's not a possibility for him. And all members are congregating around this Abyssal Dragon now.
I think MS understand how important those Abyssal Dragons were for their success, and SMG is aware of the exact same fact. They gave up every Abyssal Dragon in the last game. They're not going to play the same. They're not going to let the same thing happen again. Mori is incredibly low. That is a dangerous position to be in. Does go and does actually steal that away. He'll trade his life for that. Now, wait, with the ultimate, getting that Starfall, getting so much damage in there, and out comes the snare from MG to secure the kill. One will actually be the one to get that finishing damage. Hanzo, he goes in. He decides he's going to pick a fight underneath the blue buff. It's going to be a stun onto Chi-Chi. They'll get decent damage here. I don't know if you want to keep going in on this. That Mischief is going to hit, and Wei will walk away with, or Wei gets a huge chunk of damage. The buff will go over to Only, but that was plenty of excitement, but only a 1-for-1.
Yeah, 1-for-1, and the Abyssal goes to MS, but they were pretty low after all of that, so they couldn't really rotate back in time. Liang gonna try to put Death's Embrace, but he took more damage than anyone else in that team fight. Probably was the fault of the Joker there. And looks like Joker's harassing him behind the tower as well, wasting even more time. So Alice is going to do what Alice hates to do in lane for a moment here.
Might get pressured. Okay, Mori doesn't have the ultimate back up. If Mori had the ultimate, I thought they might decide to dive that.
Well, Joker is one of the least... does the least damage on towers out of any marksman outside of his passive. His passive just chunks it down, but then after that it does very little. Throwing the knives. Knives are less damage than the gun, it turns out. So
I'd believe that. The physics supports it.
Stabbing, blowing up. I mean, gun. Let's be real. Bullets, they blow up whatever they hit.
Yeah, like a bullet's gonna leave a hole, but like you can't really make a tower bleed.
Yeah. It's trying to stab down a tower is not
Joker
take
in a bad spot. Hanzo goes in, gets a power surge, and the
misses. He misses.
Doesn't manage to finish him.
Yeah, he's trying to use his passive, which allows you to knock back a hero onto the Joker, but unable to get that. Looks like Mori's in a little bit of trouble here. Could pop his ult if he does get into too much there. Death's Embrace comes out to try to pick him off. Liang, though, is the one who's going to go down first. That Metamorphosis does pop. The shock in there. It gets a lot of damage on the cleave, but down goes Hanzo. Are they going to be able to continue this fight? Mori's going to get in there, but he's getting chunked down while all this is happening. But so is Chi-Chi. But Chi-Chi is staying alive. Almost takes a rocket, but almost takes his spear as well, but doesn't.
Got the fanciest feet, man, just to get away from that. Again, we end up with a 1-for-1 trade. These fights are going really, really close. I keep thinking that Only is about to just absolutely rip through somebody, and then they get just the right amount of positioning on the side of SMG, and Chi-Chi manages to walk away from that. Pistol Dragon has been started up. Liang is now back after his death, and now the positioning is in favor of SMG only. Does step forward, but that's going to be about the trap going in. But Hanzo into the back line. He's going to get the pushback. He gets all the members stuck their way. The ultimate is going off, but it's not going to be enough damage. Lindis is going to pick that up. Chi-Chi grabs that, steps into the bush. Needs to be careful. He's going to take a massive amount of damage. Has to run away. Just trying to secure that buff, but I don't know if that's worth your life.
They got it.
Gets it. And all objectives go over to SMG while they also have Malik up in the top lane getting some push going. So, good advantage for them.
Oh, gets the snare, but not in range of the tower. And I believe Liang was in range of the tower, but not the Arum. And you have to have the tower shoot you and not the person you snared, because that's how you get the damage onto them. So, close, but no cigar. And the gold is somewhat even. SMG did have to scatter out of there after that whole objective nonsense, because they were pretty low. So I believe that MS got a bit better soak after all was said and done. So they're only down about 800 gold. Still quite in this. Lang going to try to just Death's Beckon. Bring that Mori in. And yeah, we're back to where we started. A little party bush up top. I don't know if Omen is aware. No, looks like they're just going to go and rotate through the jungle. I'm looking at the minimap right now. And you know, there's like a lot of party bushes. Oh, they're rotating up.
Yeah, get some aggression onto Mori. They get the slow. Second Sunshine lands. One is in trouble. Hissy Fit there to zone them off the tower. So this is a guaranteed tower.
It's scary, though.
If they want it. Out comes the Metamorphosis. That's going to put some slow onto Genji. Mori's looking for an opportunity. Dives forward. Pushes back the Raz.
I think they did that on purpose. I think they pushed that just so they could get out the Metamorphosis, and it worked.
We'll see how it's going to come down to how this next team fight goes. Chi-Chi pressures up in the mid lane, starts to get a little bit of damage. Shock is going in. That's going to be on the MG, but he's going to get locked down. The trade on the snare. The Moonfall is doing a lot of damage, but they managed to pick off Wei. Wei goes down and was getting the damage in there, but dangerous position. Saves MG. Not really worth it, in my opinion.
Oh, Hanzo's going into 3. Oh my goodness, flickers out of there. But the play from Hanzo. Goodness gracious. Oh.
I mean, sometimes you gotta take risks to make big moves. It's just that was mildly dangerous.
I think he realized after he pushed everyone back and got the upgrade, he's like, I'm fighting 1v3. I have no more cooldowns. Let's just flicker it on out of here. By the way, he does have flashy boots, which is interesting. Gonna be laying down that damage very quickly. Just fireball after fireball. I want them to make a skin of Raz where every time he lays on the power surge, it's like Hadouken, and just like nostalgia wave.
That would be a 10 out of 10 crossover. Just give him the Ryu skin. Do it.
He even has the freaking uppercut. Shoryuken. It's like
no. Just give him the Street Fighter skin. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. 10 cents. Shock comes out onto MG, putting a little bit of pressure in. The snare is on, but the tower was not targeting, so no massive value there. Meanwhile, on the other side, they've got Lindis, Alice, Omen on the push, trading a tier 1 for the positioning. Did they already dropped the tier 2 on that side, right?
From which side?
SMG, I believe they'd already dropped that tier 2, so they didn't really get anything out of that exchange.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, a little bit of aggression on Namori. Jumps away. He's safe.
Yeah, through all of these small advantages that SMG has taken, they've managed to secure themselves a 4K gold lead. Mori's getting extremely low pops. The Metamorphosis. He's going to try to get in there, but gets taken out by the true damage of Serenia. Who cares about shields? In goes in Serenia with the shock. One's getting extremely low as well, and they're on the hunt. But the bottom tower is getting taken out in that split screen. And oh my goodness, MS is in trouble. They're taking down MG under this tower. Who cares about that snare there? And bottom high gun tower gets taken out. They're pushing on this high gun tower. I don't believe the minions will be alive long enough, but they're certainly putting the hurt on MS right now to the tune of a 7K gold lead. Here comes the next minion wave. Can they get on? Hanzo takes a big spear to the face. He might fall. Gets the flicker out of there just in... Oh, not in time. Mischief taking him down in the end. And that may have... helped MS survive for now, but they're still in trouble as the last level 2 tower goes down.
They've lost so much infrastructure on just one incredibly good play. Just Mori stepped a little bit too far forward, and the members of SMG just instantly capitalized on that.
You gotta watch out for that true damage from Malik. If you get hit by one cleave, the next cleave does true damage. And even with that massive shield, it did not matter.
And so begins the cleave. Mori is just eating cleave after cleave. Does have the
metamorphosis. Oh, look at this split screen. Oh my goodness. What is going on over
this? Is unstoppable. Liang is going to be able to take a second towers now, putting the damage onto MG. I don't know if MG will survive that. Well, that's actually a pretty even duel. MG is staying alive, but has managed to bait Liang, but he got the high ground tower. What does he care? He's wasting time. The Malik manages to finish off Mori. Again, the Crest is gone, and SMG are breaching the third tier 3 tower. The high ground is gone. One has been caught. One has been pulled. The hissy fit was there just to secure the positioning, give him no escape, give him no recourse. MG will be caught as well, and it's just the wait for the next minion with the shock onto only just for the fun of it.
Just for good measure. And there goes the core. That is it. SMG turns on the accelerators in the mid game there and completely outclasses MS. Gotta say, it just started snowballing out of control. It was like they got that 1k lead, and then 1k turned to 2k, turned to 3k, turned to 4k, and then Mori overstepped and the game was over. And they are bummed about it for sure.
Nah, they opened up the opportunity to win in another game. They had fairly decent team fights in the middle of those. The trades were 1 for 1, 2 for 2, back and forth. All it took was one play. They dropped the bottom tier 3. They take the tier 2 in top. They put pressure on the tier 3 in top, and then they even get the tier 2 in mid. They got 3 towers and almost dropped a third. Like, that was a huge gold conversion.
Look at the score screen. 100% participation here for Genji with those 12 assists. Classic Alice play. Chi-Chi with that 31% damage. Again, Wei, 3 games in a row, has 30% damage. Wei is the MVP of MS, for sure.
If I'm the coaching staff on MS, I stop picking him passive heroes. Like, Crixie has moments to be aggressive, but very much so. Like, that Tulin play was great from Wei. The timing, the mobility, the damage, it was perfect. And we saw similar damage scores, but kills were secured. I want to see Wei just play significantly way more like Tulin. Put him on Tulin, put him on Raz. Let him get in there, let him fight.
I also felt like Only did a decent job on Slims. I was a bit worried because they seemed to be really pushing the Murad comp, and I was thinking maybe he can't really play, the marksman jungler comp as well. But I think the biggest issue for MS is their discombobulated lineup. It seems like one of their, I forgot who it was. Who was on Joker again?
Joker was played by one.
Yeah, it seems like one is only capable of playing marksman side laners, and it feels like Mori is only capable of playing the Crest. And maybe they think the Crest is really good, but it just seemed their comp just was not in alignment with each other. Like, they had this nice poke comp, and Crest is nice for that, but I felt like they needed someone who's able to kind of control space a bit better, maybe play a Mina or something like that. I don't believe Mina was banned in that particular game, but yeah.
No, they almost picked him instead of the Joker. If that had been Mina over Joker, they have that secondary front line, that secondary engage, or at least a minimum follow-up after the metamorphosis. Because Mori's metamorphosis is fairly good. Like, the positioning, the timing, the angle on them are decent. There just wasn't a follow-up, so they kept getting metamorphosis popped, and then a complete disengage from SMG, and then SMG shows up in, like, 10 seconds.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, right? Because the nature of the ultimate, and by the way, I agree, this time Liang was dominant on this.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. But I feel like the nature of the ultimate, you push people back, which means if you have dive characters, you can take advantage of that fact when they're pushed against the wall. But if you have more poke characters, it takes a while to get in there. If you try to over aggress onto them, you get countered yourself. So feels like if they're going to be playing like Crest, they need to have more aggressive heroes. If they're going to play the poke comp, they need someone like a Mina, or even just like an Alice to get your squishy backline that extra speed and shields. Or Annette.
Yeah.
Or Yevoneth. Yevoneth should do the trick.
Yevoneth.
Slap people around.
I'm super excited for Yevoneth. I'm excited for what his kids can do, but yeah, Liang put in the work. Got multiple towers, got lots of good pressure. If that Crixie is a Jinnar, do you think that comp plays do you think that would have fit the style? Let them poke a bit while also having hard engage?
Yeah.
I feel like Moonfall just is too inconsistent of damage.
Right. There's sometimes like a mental block with a lot of mages though. They're either good at poking and getting in and out, like with a flash or a Raz or what have you. Or like I mentioned, just poking, right? Just poking from a distance with like Crixie or something. I don't think that people are comfortable in that, just being comfortable enough being like a frontline mage and just getting in there and not potentially getting out. But I feel like having that exuberance and just blowing people up. You're probably asking the wrong person though, because I am #1 fan of Jinnar, so kind of preaching to the choir here. If you ask would Jinnar be good there, I'll be like, yeah, probably. It's like, would Jinnar be good as a support? Yeah, probably.
No, Jinnar's a great support.
You killed him.
The math didn't support it, but there was like 20 minutes where I was messing around with some builds. I'm like, if I put enough crit on Jinnar and Arcana, can I make this work? And there was a moment where like the math almost looked good, and then it was like, no, it's off.
That's the dream, right? Critting for magic damage is the dream.
But like that passive is 10 out of 10, so like you think about it and you're just like, if I could crit as Jinnar and I put crit in my runes, oh my god. And like I was building Slick's thing with it as well, and it was just like no one's gonna look for that. Like it's the ultimate solo queue troll. Like I don't think you'd ever get away with that in competitive, but like
I think you're better off building like Clavis, because you don't need attack speed, because the whole point is if you have your ult going, then your passive will constantly be off cooldown by how the nature of it works. Because the way it works, his passive is every time you use an ability or an attack, or every fifth if you use an ability or attack, it lowers the count from. What does it say in the past? The fifth attack.
I'll look it up.
The fifth attack after using an ability or attack four times is his passive, right? But every pulse of the ult, which is 0.5 seconds, counts as an ability. So therefore, by definition, every 2.5 seconds when his ult is going, you have your passive again. And it's obviously
okay. Need something with crit and cooldown reduction. Crit cooldown reduction. Mage item. Make it so 10 cent. I want my crit Jinnar. Go back to the drawing board on it. I'll figure it out.
I do build one atrocity on him just to get that like one lucky pick per game.
Yeah, the money crit. You get the money crit in lane, and then they're goddamn terrified of you.
But to answer your question, Jinnar would be good even as a support, because the best way to peel the damage off of your backline, just kill them. Just kill them so they can't move.
Offense is the best defense.
Looks like they have
they can't hurt your backline if they're dead.
All right. Do you know how this works, by the way? By the way, this is our first time casting over the GCS. We've casted over the RPL earlier this week. Should we just let this interview run and then go to break?
Yeah. I mean, I'm hazarding that there's going to be some time for setup, so this is probably a couple minutes left on this interview, or a minute or two.
Okay. We will be back for match number 2, match number 22 on the season. We're going to go ahead and just turn the audio on for this interview. Our next match of the day. What's our next match of the day? 1 versus Flash Wolves, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, 1 versus Flash Wolves. And that is the number 2 team versus the number 4 team. So, should be a good one. both of those teams are currently in the playoff picture. So we'll see you guys in a bit, and come back. If you leave for some food or whatever, come back for more GCS action. We'll see you in a bit.
上回来。
Come on. No need a break for me. Come on. No need a cry for me. No need to run. This is my own place. No one's gonna break me.
开车的时候有 Airwaves 在手，随时随地让你觉醒一下。
月下飞天镜，云生结海楼。手把芙蓉笑，翩跹笼月霜。出水芙蓉。人生如梦，元神出窍，元神归窍。
我这波可以压，我这波可以压。好，上路上路上路，来你上去，一律上去，我带着走。哎，没人， 我拉出来了，我拉出来了。哦，哎，走，可以了，走，推你推。我卡死了，OK。哎，拉一下吗？哦，还可以，是来啊。不行了，不行了。哎，那就不要。可以哦，放了，拜拜，哎，可以，拜拜，不要，我就不要哦，拜拜，我就不要，北人，我就不要哎，小北人，要我在变线，撵他，在你的地看哦，阿平看哦，我会靠你，阿平，小可呀，可以，阿杰位置，还行吗？飞你好硬哎，哇，在你啊，哇，SMG。Nice， 都可以开吧。再来呀！他们没开掉。我潇洒跑了。两只。他连你车就管了。阿哲给他死！他没办法，死不了。好，没事，看好阿哲。他要打我。不会痛。
没事，我不会这样。我们一起 on 一路，好吧？
我看一下魔龙，
要 on 中路就是直接。拉这是没大的哦，
但是我那边我就没线哦。
有的打吗？中路看一下哦。
莫拉在上，看着。
有的 on 就 on 哦。
两只在上哦，
我们要不要打下
啊？有的 on 就 on
特
拉
是中路，
啊，拉着打，中路可以 on
好，来，中路在，
那是没大喽。
啊，中路是可以 on，我不要看，有标到吗？没有，
他没有逼走，
中路。
中路吧。
洛克西有屌砍哦，
可以来，
可以帮他 on 哦，不用帮龙马了哦，龙马那边不要被抓去。
他们要硬推了啊？有可能吗？有可能。在我拳王面前，
人没大
推。来了，上路兵来了，来啊！我看你都会推，
推啊！
来啊！
哇！
别，赶快回来！啊！别死，拜托！我的就是符，守住了！中兵！主堡守住了吗？守住了！
快到我们的泰了，加油！
哇，这群推厉害了！是凯撒，快出动！耶嘿！等，好了，可以了。
Go 西斯特。
Go Power Ranger。
In buff。In buff, we trust. Buff 能量饮料含花青素双效登场。
Every time I close my eyes, I feel the victories reaching me. Make the move to fight back, so you better step back, cause I'm unstoppable. Come, no need to pray for me. Come, no need to cry for me. I'll make my own fate, no one's gonna break me. Cause I try so hard, no one can stop me. No need to pray for me. No need to cry for me. This is my own fate, no one's gonna break me.
Hello， 欢迎回来 Garena 传说对决职业联赛，我是主播小葵，
我是赛评碧海。
紧接着呢是我们。
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the unofficial English broadcast of the GCS Taiwan's AOV League, which is arguably, and in my opinion, the best, the highest quality as far as the teams are concerned league in the entire world. I'm D2, joined by the Source, and we are back for our second match of the day. It's going to be between number 2 Flash Wolves and number 4 1, so probably a good game coming up for us here.
Oh, I left myself muted for half a second. It's fine.
We're good. No, don't burn your house down yet. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. It's a pretty close matchup in terms of standings. One is tied with AHQ in terms of points, same number of points, same number of matches. They're both 3-2, 7-5. So picking up a victory here over the Flash Wolves, or any games in general, will be pretty good for them. But obviously they want to pick up the win, and if they can get a 2-0, that will mean that AHQ's next matchup, which is up against Hong Kong Attitude, which is also still a pretty good team, will be that much more important.
Well, we're taking a look at Flash Wolves now. Like we mentioned, they're the second team in the league, and they only have one loss. I assume that's the J team, just because who else would they have lost to? Yep, in week number 2, they lost to J team, but they've defeated AHQ, who AHQ is, by the way, the world champion Korean roster, so that's pretty good. And yeah, they along with J team are the only teams, in fact, to defeat AHQ. So just goes to show how accomplished they are. I would say, given that they are the I don't want to say heavy favorites, but pretty good favorites coming into this, despite the fact that one is 4-1 and the other is 3-2. I just considering who they face off against, right? Flash Wolves is 4-1, despite having already faced off against J Team and AHQ. That is mighty impressive. Taking a look at one, they feasted on the likes of Monster Shield, like we just saw. They've defeated Mad 2-1, and yeah, they what was their loss? What was their other loss? They lost to SMG. They lost to SMG as well. So I feel like the quality of competition here for Flash Wolves has been higher, and yet they even have a better record. So I would say that Flash Wolves are somewhere between normal favorites and heavy favorites.
Did they drop a match to SMG?
Yep, I saw. Let's see. Looking at week number 4. They played twice. They beat Mad and they lost to SMG in week 4.
God.
And that's SMG's only win before today. So yeah. Anyway, that's what we're looking at right now. One has been reasonable so far, but they have beaten up on the lower teams in the league. And whereas Flash Wolves have played the top teams in the league and yet have come out looking fresh as a daisy. So Flash Wolves probably have the upper hand on this one. I have to say I haven't watched that many of their games, so I can't really give you first-hand perspective. I've only really watched in depth or closely like the teams or the times that J Team and AHQ have played, just because you kind of want to fanboy out in the teams that went to the AWC. That and SMG a little bit as well. So this is really my first time getting an up-close and personal look, and I'm expecting good things from Flash Wolves, because any team that can beat AHQ is probably going to be looking pretty good. Actually, no, I think I did see their win against AHQ, but I was looking from the perspective of AHQ the entire time, to be honest. I think that was the match that AHQ picked Batman in the 3rd game and dropped that one.
Feels Batman.
Feels Batman. All right, let's get started.
I had to make one bad pun. It had to happen.
Well, I always just accidentally say it. I'm just like, feels Batman. I was like, oh wait, didn't mean to say it that way. All right, getting into this pick and ban stage. We're starting off with that Pura ban, which is starting to become standard. It looks like, at least as far as this league is concerned, and might trickle over to the West as well, after we saw that Death Ball composition be so potent in both the European and South American regions.
It seems like they just have a heavy respect for her. They understand, like, they all know what they can do with having that mobile armor and being able to then throw in a good amount of crowd control. So, I mean, I think she brings a lot to the table. I rambled about it when we were watching the RPL matches. We've seen a lot of Liliana bans too. Is that just because the caliber of mid lane mage players is just to the level where we can see them do dumb things with Liliana?
Yep, pretty much. We're like, everyone's like a hoon over here, just doing crazy stuff with Liliana. And I think what we're seeing with Liliana is that as they get better, the fact that she's so mobile, it indirectly adds to her damage because you can build her all damage basically, and if they try to jump on you, you just run away because you have 2 dashes in your kit. But in the meantime, you're just wailing away from a distance, and usually when you have a hero who can just do boatloads of damage, boatloads of AoE damage, no less, from a massive distance, then you're going to get dove upon and die. So it's one of the situations where, yeah, you can make crazy plays and jump on people in Fox form, but they skipped their ban. Oh, no, that's too... Sorry. I was like...
Delayed ban.
Okay, I was a bit confused there. But yeah, I think that's indirectly... She melts people, but that's an indirect consequence of the fact that she has great mobility. Alright, well... looks like we're going for perhaps an Omen first pick here. Taiwan really loves their Omen. Even in the AWC, they were constantly banning and picking him in their matches. And
dangerous duelist, solid split pusher, likes to drop powers. I see nothing wrong.
By the way, I just noticed something, and I'm really happy about it. Much less Valheim bans and picks. Because it looks like people have figured out how to play against him. It's like, oh yeah, maybe we were just not used to playing against a side lane marksman. But once we did get used to it, it's fine. And I'm just loving the fact that Valheim is seeing a downfall.
Yeah, I mean, Valheim was everybody's first carry, so like he's super straightforward in what he's supposed to do. And until you build up the skills necessary, he's annoying to try to shut down, and at this level, they know how to both shut him down, and I think everybody's kind of compensated for the buff he got in the early game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, looks like we're having the Flash potentially for the first time, which, honestly, I was surprised to not see the Flash earlier, but SMG isn't really quite that team, and it turns out that MS wasn't either. So, we do see that pick there, as well as the Chognar. The Chognar could be a bit of, a one-size-fits-all kind of counter here, where you deal with the Koresh, you deal with a Mina, any sort of nonsense that comes out, and you don't have to worry about it, because if you don't pick the Chognar, then they can go Mina Chognar, all of a sudden they've picked the counter for the Mina, and you're feeling not too great.
I also think Chognar, like Omen, doesn't give away a whole lot. Doesn't commit you to any one strategy. Chognar can kind of be the defensive cleanse for a poke team as well as the offensive play for a more aggressive strategy.
Oh no! I said all of that. I was so happy.
But he can have a purpose. It's just like he doesn't need to be permanently banned.
Right. Yeah, he was.
I don't mind him being picked as much as the perma bans.
Exactly. And he was certainly permabanned. In fact, it seems like it comes in waves, right? He was permabanned in Taiwan, and then so therefore the first week of the Valor series, he was permabanned as well. And then Taiwan stopped permabanning, and then everyone just followed suit. It's like, oh, wait, we don't have to permaban him? Okay, we can maybe deal with him. All right, well, Lindis comes here in the 4th slot, which is somewhat late. Typically, she's one of the higher priority pick/bed. Huh?
Question mark?
Is this real? You see something like that and you just... Okay, yeah, it wasn't real.
It gives you some serious pause. You're like, what are they up to?
Right, it's just, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they were scrolling down and searching for the Arduin because Hualin doesn't own him or something. In any case, in comes the Arduin. That's not too big of a surprise. He's been seeing a little bit more play lately. He is amazing in King of Glory, his counterpart in that skin of the game. And so China kind of overvalued him, especially in the AWC. But through a series of buffs and the fact that, the style of sideliners that we've seen lately, he has gone up in value, especially because he is really good in teamfight, since his Bloodlust passive is insane as long as you can guarantee that you'll get use out of it, right? When it just randomly goes off when you're in the side lane and they run away, you feel bad. Also, his true damage on his second ability, once he pops his shield, is pretty nice. So he's a good brawler, as well as a side laner, that duelist. So getting him in there Feels kind of nice. So it looks like we might get a Fennec in here. We saw Fennec have a 40% win rate in the RPL, but that's partly because we feel like the teams that were picking him were forced into him because they didn't draft properly. But in a team comp or in the hands of a team, I should say, that can competently snowball a game using his snowball capabilities, this might work out a bit better.
Yeah, and I don't mind it being a double marksman in this scenario because he's less of a marksman and more of this specialist character designed to help them drop towers, to help them burst, clean up objectives, to, you know, drop 3 marks on a squishy and just kind of not necessarily kill them, but force them back. So I'm curious to see how Flash Wolves come to it because they didn't, like you said, they weren't forced into it. Slims is still up. They could have gone into that if they wanted that marksman jungler.
Look at this. 13% pick rate, 11% ban rate. Very, very low on both accounts. And then 67% win rate. So the times they pick him, he's good. And I have the feeling Flash Wolves comprises a big percentage of that pick rate.
They have a plan. They have a plan for how they're going to approach it. They have a plan for how they're going to play the early game.
It's nice because they both, by picking the Fennec, they both keep up with the jungling and, you know, to be honest, surpass the jungling time of the Lindis. But they also kind of nullify the Flash in a way because the Flash, he takes a while to get going as far as his damage is concerned. He's really good at poking, but as far as blowing up someone, it takes him quite a while to get there. And so if you just snowball the game from the get-go and make sure that the Flash isn't getting in doing a whole lot, then yeah, you just completely nullify him.
The other nice thing about it is Flash's positioning, although fast, can be fairly predictable. So Fennec can set up for that, and if you just drop a good Thief's Mark on him, get 1 or 2 auto attacks when he's retreating, that's half of Flash's health bar, and Flash doesn't feel safe to go in again.
Yeah, and imagine you're pushing a particular lane, like the Fennec rotates over to the Valheim lane. They start trying to pressure a tower. Maybe Flash comes over to rotate to match it. Valheim lays down a couple of stuns, and then all of a sudden he can't even really get his ult off because he doesn't have the dash back. And then suddenly you're not feeling too good. So we'll see how this all plans out, or all this, you know, pans out, I should say. This is certainly a different comp, and part of the reason we should say right now that part of the reason we like quote-unquote Flash Wolves comp is because we're confident in the number 2 team in this league's ability to pull it off. If we saw some last place team pick this, we'd be like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, if this were MS, we would be like, I don't trust that they can make the Fennec do work for them. Flash Wolves, I think they're a good enough team that they wouldn't do it without a plan. They wouldn't do it without a strategy to make it work.
Right, and so we're automatically like, this is interesting. Let's see how this works out for them and see how they pull off this particular strategy.
Yeah, we give them far more credit. We give them more leeway as a team to pull off something, you know, a little bit wild, a little bit creative. And we're already seeing Flash kind of being harassed out of the lane. I mean, Ran sticking around the mid lane. Hi, Flash. You don't really get to beat up on the Crixie, at least not at this stage of the game.
Does that skin exist on NA?
Which skin?
The Flash.
The blue Flash skin. I don't know.
It looks sexy.
Is that the Zoom Flash skin?
I don't know.
Yeah,
but I like
it.
It's
Zoom. It's blue lightning around him, so it's Zoom. Or at least I don't know if that's what it's called, but that would be the DC lore character to fit that aesthetic. So I'm down.
All right. Well.
Anyways, DC shenanigans aside, some aggressive positioning way, and they're a step forward. They know exactly where he's going to be, and they don't. Interesting. I thought he'd chain hammer and just like straight up wreck him.
Yeah, especially because lots of damage coming here onto Valheim, but he decides to get some back before he gets under his tower. And yeah, I'm with you that his cooldown, speaking of Fennec, are pretty low, so probably could have gotten that off and still had it available for this Abyssal Dragon. A little bit of a duel here in the sideline between these particular heroes, Roxy and Omen. Oh, speaking of which, one is getting onto the Abyssal and they take it down. Looks like Fennec didn't want any part of that since their team wasn't in position. Looks like part of that was because Valheim was pretty low, so I'm not going to take a fight with our Valheim that low, but this does throw a wrench into Flashwolf's plan if they really wanted to snowball this game.
Yeah, I would have, I think a lot of things cascade from that position, but we do have a team fight starting to set up. Got slows in there. They're going to put a lot of damage on the lever. There's going to be a good vacuum in. The Cyclone comes out, but doesn't finish off anyone. Hero will be able to run away from that, and here's Fennec on the back, but the fight's basically already over, and one has walked away with that.
Whoa.
Well, Ting decides the fight might not actually be over, but Flash Wolves will walk away.
That was the longest jump I've ever seen from a Crush before. It looked like the Rock just pushed him out from under that. Yeah, but so it seems like Heroes didn't have the correct timing on that. He went in with very low health, dropped the Death's Embrace, tried to get, not really the kill, but just lock him down for his team to come around and pick them off. But the timing wasn't quite there, and they were a little bit late, and he got taken down instead for that first blood.
And now we see some aggression coming out of one, looking to secure the vision. It's gonna go over to one, so they'll walk away with that. And I want to see Flash Wolves reset, because I'm still back on that mid lane play, because if they do that, maybe they would have forced the flicker out of Flash, and then he's not at level 4, and they get better timing on that. So I want to see them set up their aggression again, because it looked like they recognized the opportunity but didn't want to do it. So I want to see them find that team fight where they can shut down Flash. And Lover went for it. That's the one struggle I have with Roxy, is landing those. And I mean, if you can land those at the pro level, that's a free kill on the Crixie, and that could have snowballed pretty bad.
Yeah, I am with you though. Even if you just throw the chain hammer onto that point, he can't. Even if he decides not to go back, he's so out of position at that point that you can kill him anyway. So yeah,
I want to see them facilitate that type of play in the next few fights. But we've got Xiaoyu looking for an opportunity. The Thieves Mark is going to go down again. Secured by Fennec. Out comes the Metamorphosis. Valheim in from the back. Ice Fang, he's taking a lot of damage there. She's got to get out, and there's just too many slows, too many ways to keep him there. I don't really think they want to re-engage on Ting. I would take your victory and walk away.
Well, she's right there with the Crixie, but she needs to go back and take her farm in the mid, it looks like. And yeah, they have to back up there. Valheim, the best thing he can do as far as running away is just landing more stuns, unfortunately for him, so he's going to just throw out those glaives as quickly as possible. Wow, Heroes actually steals away the Spirit Sentinel buff. Very well done by him. Now he's going to have that advantage in this lane. But yeah, Fennec, after taking that Abyssal Dragon, that didn't go too well for them on the backswing. It looks like a big invade. Chainhammer comes out to try to force them out of there. But his pressure is Wayne. In comes the Cyclone as well. So is Ron. Everyone's getting extremely low, but she comes in for the Cavalry. But all 5 members are there. She can't really hang on either. Death's Embrace comes out, but Heroes is getting low himself. But oh wow, the snipe onto Shanya. That could turn things around. In comes a Metamorphosis. All the members of 1 are getting extremely low. They just go in. Crixie just popping off, getting another kill. Getting another kill onto Lover right now as well. And how quickly that turned around from that one pick on to the Lindis, and then the Metamorphosis comes out. Snap call from Flash Wolves.
One thought they had it. They were chasing. They were chasing Wayne all the way out of there, all the way into the enemy territory, and they just got collapsed on. And just a perfectly timed Metamorphosis from Ran. That was what we were expecting from Flash Wolves. It wasn't really centered around the Fennec, but it was just really coordinated team play to show how good they are in this league.
I love that snap call, though. Everyone was running away. Everyone was low, but they had the concave. They had the positioning, and they realized if we just get one kill, in particular, that was the perfect kill, getting onto Shanyo, starting on that damage, knowing that if they recommitted to the fight, they weren't going to get random pickoffs on their low heroes. And right when that happened, like, go, go, go. Metamorphosis in, everyone down low, but Shishi now getting dove upon. She's going to be able to run away from that extra movement speed on her Moonfall. But in comes Ren. He has full health. He pops a Metamorphosis. The Abyssal Dragon goes over to 1, but they are on the retreat, and Ting cannot get out of there. Doesn't have that coal to pull himself. And in comes Flash Wolves trying to take down this tower. Heroes is going to go onto the backline, pop that Death's Embrace, and just fight 1v3, because why not? In the meantime, Ron doesn't go down in the end. Chi-Chi's going to go ahead and chase. Gets the kill with that Mischief. And just players fighting all over the place. How did they... Okay, they killed 2. I was getting confused. I was like, how did they kill 3? But Ting was killed before. And Wayne showing off why Fennec can be so devastating. He's going to just slap down that tower.
Yeah, didn't manage to secure the Abyssal Dragon, but is still doing a really good job of rotating around and getting the objectives. And now we're starting to see the Flash Wolves rotate a little bit more, show up at the right time. They missed one objective. They managed to take more and get some kills, and they didn't lose. They didn't lose Rand in there. He managed to get out and then recall, so that's one less death. Now with the Darkslayer coming back up, I would not be surprised to see a Flash Wolf make a play for that, and we see a lot of members from 1 up here in the top half of the map. They are aware that Flash Wolves could do this in an instant. The Sentry, the Gargoyle is being taken down, but I think this will reset. No,
unless Fennec can kill it quickly enough. Yeah, the epic monsters, as of this new map coming in, their AI is way better. So if they're pulled out of that region but pulled back in, they don't actually completely reset. It's really nice. But Wayne's gonna get to work on this, like we mentioned, and with the Valheim there as well, probably going to be able to take it down pretty quickly.
I'm going to say it's too late. There isn't enough time for 1 to come back. So this is a secured objective for the Flash Wolves. The enemy team spread out thinking that they couldn't possibly be doing it. And lo and behold, oh, they were. Heroes runs into Lover, but I don't really think Lover wants to take that fight, even with the... no, they want to do it with the Lindis. We'll just kind of walk away, though.
Yeah, that Untouchable is one of the best defensive tools in the entire game. Not only does it slow anyone trying to attack you, but, I mean, the biggest deal, obviously, is that, 30 to 50% reduced damage? It's insane. One of the best things in the game. But Ting is going extremely low onto that Chain Hammer. Also, that Thieves Mark onto him as well. And looks like they've dropped the Drake. They're looking for, potentially, this high ground tower. The Siege Minion gets taken out by Flash. That's not an issue for them anymore. Next mini wave is not for a little bit, so they could potentially hold on here. But they are defending this Drake with their lives, saying, Ting, get out of here. This is our Drake. And Vanta gets extremely low as well. This next mini wave is now incoming. Miss onto the stun here from Ting, and this looks like it's going to get taken out.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of things that 1 can do. They're kind of just going to have to accept that loss. And, I mean, they had Flash clearing out the mid so that they weren't going to be pressured in more than 1 lane. They don't really have enough range to be able to really deal with that. And yeah, Wayne just decided that tower was in his way, and it disappeared.
Yeah, I love how Thieves Mark just completely, and by love I mean hate, because what the heck. But when you put the Thieves Mark on it, it's just unnatural to see a tower go from 50% health to 0. That's just not normal. Let's be real here. It just blows up. It's like, oh yeah, that's 5 auto attacks on that. Anyway, wow, big play here in the bushes. Just 3 members there. Just a completely surprising one. But unfortunately for Flash Wolves, they're not going to get anything out of that. So that was reasonable. I guess they did chunk down Chognar hard enough that they might be able to steal this Abyssal Dragon. They don't have the curse on their side anymore either. They're trying to zone out Roxy while all this is going on. She knows what's up, though. She's trying to get in there, but Lover's taking a lot of damage. They turn onto her, and she is going to go down. That said, Wayne's in trouble as well, able to get the roll out of there, but Ice Fang, what? He just completely deletes Flash as he's trying to get onto there, and this is a completely discombobulated teammate. The Death Embrace secures the kill onto Shanyo on that Lindis, and 1 desperately trying to take this Abyssal Dragon, or at least contest it, has led to the downfall of 3 of the members and possibly the game. In comes Flash Wolves to try to take down this tower. It's going to go down in an instant. As you can see, wow, the Metamorphosis secures the kill as well. Fanta does not want to live in this world anymore, and that's going to be the game for Flash Wolves. Too much damage onto those towers.
pretty clean 11-minute game from the side of the Flash Wolves. There were moments where one looked like they might make something happen, but all it took was one team fight for them to turn things on. And after that, there weren't any opportunities. You would see Flash Wolves just have incredibly fast target calling whenever they went from opponent to opponent, especially in that last team fight. We got a great example of just like something's out of position, instantly kill it.
And that's so funny because given all of that, you can see why one just kind of saw red for a moment there, and everyone's getting low, let's go and let's try to kill them. But, you know, again, hindsight is 2020, but if they just maintain that 1k to 2k gold lead, it's so hard for Fennec to do anything. And once they got the lead flipped onto them, Fennec was just running rampant and killing everything in sight. Before that fight happened, before they got the 4k onto 1, would you have believed it if I told you that Flash Wolves was going to win the game in 11 minutes? Like, wait, they're behind right now. How does this happen?
No, that was perfectly played, perfectly baited. Like, just a little, it was just the slightest overcommitment because it looks really good. Wayne is taking a bunch of damage, got a bunch of targets, you know, death balling in onto the enemy team. Ren is just taking a bunch of damage in his low, but wait, Metamorphosis, instant blink in from Ice Fang to just pop somebody. One person goes down and the whole thing collapses.
Look at Shishi here, 70,000 damage, 32% of his teams. He had the highest score of the game and had the mischief of the game onto that Lindis. The Lindis was like, oh, I'm in the middle of my team. I might be a little bit low, but my team's here. I'm safe. Boom, just dead. Fairy. A fairy?
Him with the Crixie dust.
Just the apparition of the fairy just comes in there and gets him. And that was it.
She hit him with the Crixie dust. Like,
yeah.
Crixie tells him. Crixie gives you the instruction on how to win. You hit him with the Crixie dust. And they're going to give the MVP to the Crash, who had that just game-altering metamorphosis.
Yeah, that was insane. Just how quickly they turned. They're like, Lindis is dead, go. Now just popped it. Everyone was pretty low. I would say maybe there's one player above 50%, but most of the players were 50% or below. Some had like 20%, and they just jumped on them. Killed 4 people. Last person barely got out of there, and game was completely flipped at that point.
Oh, wow.
What are you looking at?
Not related to the game. I had a Red Bull can on my desk, and now I have ants.
Oh, rip. Should have gone with Buff. Apparently the sponsor for GCS.
I'm gonna have to get my hands on a case of that. It doesn't. It is patent proven to not cause ants. And that's
it also has Irie and Raz on the front, which, coming from someone who lives in, or I guess I live in Japan, but I'm connected to NA and EU and all that kind of stuff. I can't even imagine going into a grocery store and seeing like Irie and Raz on the cover of like an energy drink.
I mean, I don't know. I'm clearly living in the wrong country, you know.
Oh, look! Oh my god, that was so beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
and the turn, boom!
So much damage.
Oh my god, and they're getting there. Ice Fang's the only one who actually has any health. Everyone else just jumping in there, no fear. Lover going down. Fanta. This is where you rage at your support. Like, why did you run away? It's like, I would have died too. Quiet.
But yeah, this is the target recalling I was talking about. Like, the moment they saw Belinda's absence, instant death. Instantly, they're on top of him. Instantly, they've made that conversion to pick up those kills. That's, you know, a good shot calling and something that it felt like we're lacking in the beginning of the fights. Like, they just didn't feel that they were confident enough to just kind of like finish targets. But one team fight, and then everybody is like, "Oh yeah, we know what we're doing. We got this."
Yeah, it seemed like one is more traditionally a good team, where they can spot your normal advantages, spot your normal opportunities, right? Like, and they were able to kind of control the early game. They looked like the better team in the early game, but things just completely flipped once Flash Wolves had any opportunity to get anything done. And even in situations where you wouldn't really expect there to be an opportunity, they were just on them and finishing them off, like in that one fight in the early game that we talked about extensively, and also the fight that we just saw in the highlights where they just jumped off of the Abyssal and onto the team of One. So One, having lost that game, they get to draft in the order in which they choose. They're going to go for drafting first, which means we're going to see them in the bottom left side of the map coming up. Looks like we have a ban onto Liliana and Violet.
Nothing crazy there. Chognar being removed, I'd say that's fair. One played him pretty well, and they don't want to hand him over, which means they've got a very desired first pick. It's not going to be the Chognar. Might be the Mina. We haven't actually seen Mina.
We have not, but that's partly because we've seen Chognar.
So maybe that's the Mina first pick, and the Chognar set that up.
If we do see the Mina, will we see a counter crushed? Just to have like the double crazy AoE stun potential. Well, Omen banned out here from Flash Wolves. They don't want to deal with that on the other side. And then finally a Flash ban. I love how often we see teams ban their own the players that they picked the last game, or the heroes that they picked the previous game.
I mean, I think it shows that there's some clear priorities in thought process when it comes to what is powerful and what is not. Like, there are some things that seem universal, but it seems like teams are very afraid of, like, we showed something and played it fairly well, or there are things that we play well that we think are just generally good.
Yep, certainly the case.
Pretty common,
especially in Taiwan, where they probably share a lot of the same strategies. But looks like we're coming in here with a Raz first pick. And Raz was banned out last game by Team 1. Oh, excuse me, it was banned by Flash Wolf. So perhaps we will see some good Raz play from the side of 1. Who was their mage last game again?
Their mage
Fanta?
last game was...
Wasn't it Fanta?
No, it was Flash.
No.
Flash. Oh, the player.
Yeah, the player.
No, Fanta was on the Chognar. It was Howlin.
Okay.
Hualin.
Alright, well,
I think.
Looks like Flash Wolves wants to pick themselves up the Lindis early. It also doesn't really give a whole lot away, because you're going to likely pick up a Marksman Jungler. On the other side, Valheim pick up as well as that Aram, which makes sense for a couple of reasons. I mean, obviously Aram's just an extremely powerful hero, but at the same time, you don't really want to be going against a Valheim as the Aram. So, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's see it.
There's no way they're picking
Azenka. Do it. Diao-chan, do it.
No, Azenka. No.
Do it.
I believe Diao-chan way more.
Okay, you cannot say Diao-chan on this guest. Diao-chan. We're not calling her Diao-chan. Brown Bag called her that once, and then all of a sudden all the Valor series casters were calling her that, and it drove me nuts.
We're calling her Diao-chan?
No, Diao-chan.
Dio-chan?
Oh my god. At least I got them to fix some of the pronunciation. Like, they stopped calling him Ari, or stopped calling her Ari. Now it's Irie, like it should be.
The one pronunciation that drives me insane. This is not to hit on Suijay, but I can't stand when he calls Hecate Hecades.
Hecates? Well, it's actually Hecades. I looked it up because I did some videos and stuff. I can.
I'm just like Greek mythology. Yeah. It has a name.
Oh, did you say it correctly, Hecades? I thought I heard you say Hecate. Never mind.
I said Hecate.
Hecate, yeah, I looked up as Hecades. There's also like Clavisancti. That's how you pronounce that. Zweihander. I don't know. Muramasa, I think everyone says correctly, but if you want to say it like the cool Japanese way, it's Muramasa.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard anyone mess that one up.
Um,
Anyways, now that we're off our pronunciation train.
Okay, the biggest one though is TJ saying Ryoma and Ryu. I'm like, no, Ryoma, Ryu. If you can't say the Japanese way, then say Ryoma or Ryu. Anyway, we might have a mirror at this game.
No.
By the way, Joker. People have been hating on Joker, and we've seen him earlier today. He was played pretty well, and then now we're seeing Flash Wolves play him. So get off the Joker hate train, guys. He's good.
I mean, Joker didn't get bad. He just got less free.
No.
That was like
okay.
When he lost his invuln frames, it became less free to do what you were doing. So he required like more skill and planning before you win it. Before you were just like, oh, squishy target in range of Candelafter, press button, do it. You just did it. Because it was like, they can't touch me.
Right, but he's still unstoppable. I mean, as like physically, like he's immune to CC when he does it.
Yeah, but like he had straight invuln for it, like nothing hurt him. So like before it was just freer. So I think that people just haven't given him the respect necessary to learn how to play him now that he's not free.
No one stopped playing him because he's now not invulnerable for like that quarter of a second when he jumps in. It's because now that the marksman jungler is in full effect, people are like, no, we can't have two marksmen on the same team. That's not allowed. And then they just like, yeah. And
that's definitely true, but I think the loss of the invuln frames made people like a little skittish.
I think that people didn't see him in pro games because he didn't fit into many compositions, and so therefore they thought he was bad when in fact he just wasn't being played. They're two different things.
Well, now that we have the Flash Wolves here to teach us how to do it right, they showed us the Fennec and how effective that can be.
Hopefully they will style with that Joker, get some damage in, blow some people up, make them laugh until they die. Actually, it sounds really bad, but it's true. Okay, imagine laughing until you die.
I mean, that's just what happens when you. I mean, that's you laugh so hard that you cry. You're just a couple steps away from that. You're just one bad encounter with the Joker away from like real bad situation.
Yeah, Joker not fooling around, even though it seems like he does. Anyway, what was the last pick for 1?
The last pick for 1 was Murad. They had Tara Murad.
Oh right, we haven't seen Tara in a while either.
Yeah, I've always found Tara to be very hit or miss.
I think
she's only as strong as the pressure she puts on the squishies who can't get away from her.
Right. Yeah, and her ult's simultaneously annoying to deal with, and sometimes just ineffective, because if she can't lay down the damage, and it's like, well, her ult doesn't really do any more damage.
Yeah. Like I mean, the League of Legends have limited her as stinged in the sense that she's supposed to just cause trouble. She's supposed to get in there and mess with what's going on in the backline. And if she's got a Mantle of Raw, if she's got, maybe one damagey-ish item, she can be a serious threat. But if she's not there, you can just ignore her in so many ways. And I'm pretty sure that Flash Wolves will be in a position to ignore her if they play it properly. And did he steal?
Yep.
Tar steal that?
Yep.
Lover stole that away. I mean, that is Tara 101. Be as annoying as humanly possible. Cause havoc.
Well, speaking of being annoying, yeah, getting a lot of damage onto her. It turns out that your beasts don't really heal through an entire passive from Shishi.
Yeah, plus probably one blink slow and a good ion bolt.
By the way, what is going on with players being good at Crixie and Tulin?
I don't know. I think Tulin is thoroughly underappreciated as a highly mobile mage with a potential reset and just one of the dangerously powerful passive. I think with Liliana, where Liliana wins that matchup. So when she was really strong, she kind of pushed people away from playing Tulin. Crixie got her buff in that patch a while back, and so I guess everybody kind of learned how to play. Like, was like, oh, you can just kind of play Crixie again, but then she gets nerfed and her damage goes down a bit. I don't know. I have some theories on how metagame has evolved across the States and EU. I'd be curious to see how Tulin has been over here in the East.
It's just funny because they're such opposite characters that it's just, I guess they're just playing them because they're good. And since they're pros, they can play anyone. Anyway, on top of that, we have the fantastic Tulin skin. So that is something to look forward to as well. As we see one coming on to this Abyssal Dragon, but in comes Flash Wolves as well to potentially contest this. But Wayne needs to come around the other side. Ice Fang trying to get in there, but down it goes due to Murad's ultimate. But he's getting extremely low as well. So is Rand. Doesn't have his Metamorphosis. Wayne's going to try to help out, but ends up body blocking his own teammate. And one's going to get out of there with the dragon and a kill.
Yeah, unfortunate timing. The side of one was able to get their ultimates a bit ahead of the Flash Wolves, and they couldn't really go in and take that, but that's going to be Heroes with the Agnes Embrace, pulls back Lover, but here comes Shishi, looked for the reset, isn't going to get the reset, but he's going to get one more blink away, might have a bit of that, no, just delaying the inevitable, and oh my god, Hero, no! Ooh!
Hualin with the push in to the tower there, picking them off, and one is once again, I should be more careful with my words, is looking great in the early game, but let's see if Flash Wolves can maybe manufacture a comeback like they did in game number 1.
Nice steal by Fanta. Walked away with the prize, and yeah, they have very good aggressive early game game sense. They understand how to push the limits at the this one item to basically no item stage of their characters. But Shishi is looking for blood. If Shishi had gotten the hard reset with the Thunderbird, I don't know whether or not Xianyo would have gone. I don't know if he would have continued to pursue that. Hero is going to run into Lover again, is going to get slowed down by Fanta, is going to get stunned up. So we are seeing like a little bit of that value on the turret, and there is nobody around to back him up. So it's going to be a long chase.
Oh,
but are they? Yeah, they got it.
Has to expand the snare though, because Fanta realized that she was going to get away with that extra speed and shield. Looks like they're going to trade out a tower. Yes, this will go down. Ice Fang actually taking some of that damage as well with that pick a card, any card. Obviously, that makes him invulnerable even to towers. And they pick up a tower, which that's as good as about 500 gold in my book as far as controlling the map and having that advantage. So they're doing pretty well for themselves, and Wayne's just going to solo this? How is one letting this happen?
It's because of the tower taking the bottom. Tower taking the bottom results in less space to be able to defend, and then all the members show up in mid. So already Valheim wanted to rotate out of that portion of the map, and it was just a good timing play by the side of Flash Wolves. Now they're looking for some more. No steal.
Oh, they wanted the steal, yeah. And since there's nothing else to do on the map, they might as well just be there and see if they can't get lucky. Shanyo gonna go ahead and teleport out of there, but gets right back in. Fanta, did she expend her ultimate? No, she did not. Sorry. Alright, well, looks like siege minions are coming out here, which means more pressure on all lanes. This is a lot of farm for team. That's gotta feel good. It's like, ooh, yes, give me that.
Yeah, also building that split damage build so far. Looks like he's going into his...
Going a little bit of AP as well with that Phoenix here.
Yeah, that's going to be a Blitzblade probably next. Fanta gets dropped to about half, cost the Metamorphosis. Don't really have enough minions to really make this happen, but she steps forward. She steps forward, gets a little bit of damage in. Xianyo wants a play, but isn't going to get it, and no minion waves here, and no opportunity for more siege. Wait, Shishi is just like, I will find you.
See, she's just being a pest. Once it's just like, go away, Tulin. It's like, stop doing that. He's like, nah, I'm just gonna. And Shanyo's just gonna try to get some revenge. But Shield comes up here from Ron on the crest, keep Shishi alive for a little bit. But that's what they needed to do. In order to keep Shishi from being that annoying, again, pest in their back line, Shanyo needs to get the damage onto him. I'm just looking at the fact that they're just doing so much poke damage. Obviously, you don't really think of poke from the Tulin, but able to do that. And really, I'm looking at these rockets from Ice Fang just constantly coming out, where you can't really sit behind your towers one bit. But look at the split screen. We're gonna have double cut off from the wave. I've never seen this before. Tara cutting out the waves, and Roxy says, "I will do so as well, Mister."
They're both very good as characters. They're both very good at creep cutting. They can proxy waves like a boss. We do see the Abyssal Dragon being started up. Ice Fang knows this is happening, but really needs to call the team to get this because it's going to be bursted down. And now they don't really have an opportunity to be able to collapse. The Flash Wolves give up the Abyssal Dragon, and Roxy just gonna keep creep cutting the wave.
In trouble though, potentially. Nope. Looks like they probably don't catch her. Yeah, Fanta could pop her snare, but likely won't end up in a kill anyway, because that is Roxy nearly as tanky. Hualan's taking a bit of damage here, trying to protect this tower, but unable to protect the tower in the end. And I've just this aggression coming out from Flash Wolf, so much damage coming in. Fang pops the candle after, doesn't even need the rocket, which would have landed anyway, and they're going to take this tower once more. Double Marksman works pretty well, even with the Joker damage, going to be enough there to take down that tower. Shishi just being so annoying here in mid, zoning out members, being so great on this Tulin.
That is the fun of playing Joker. Once you've got a rank breaker and you hit your ultimate, most squishies eat one rocket or more. You just can't laughter, and you can possibly take them out. He's gonna get
snare.
Wow. Got him. Well played by Fanda to be able to get that lockdown, but we do see Hero putting some pressure on the Lover. He's going to need some significant backup as everybody is showing up, steps forward to try and not get stunned. Actually, a lot of those members are going very, very low. Ron is not there. He's looking to get everybody. Hero is shredding them to pieces. All she has to do is get in range to find that one Thunderbird. He's going to get the damage. The shield keeps him alive. There is going to be no reset. Hero is now tanking the tower. Doesn't manage to get off the Agnes Embrace. Are they going to find Tara in the bush? Lover, he's backing. He's safe, and it is going to be Helen who goes forward, gets their attention. Oh my god, Tara stayed. I mean, it's Tara, so it's okay, but she almost had that reset.
Oh my goodness. Where did that shield come from? Was that the essence of the windshield?
Yeah, it had to be windshield.
That wow, that was so clutch, because he could have literally killed everyone there and prevented the Roxy death. That was the case, because Roxy had to stay in there to secure that kill. Ice Fang is going to try to find
I don't know if Lover wants that.
Yeah, definitely getting extremely low. Even after popping her ult, she's still at half health. And they're likely going to take down the tower, especially after the Crash is able to rotate over. And it is 9 towers to 5 at the moment.
And I don't know when it really happened, but Flash Wolves have just started to lay in the pressure.
The towers. It started with that bottom tower. They just got it.
But like, it wasn't really that explosive. Like, all of a sudden, you're just looking at the map and you're like, what happened? When did the Flash Wolves suddenly take everything over? Out comes the Metamorphosis. That's going to isolate Fanta. They've got some damage in there from Shishi, but they need everyone else. They're going to get the slow onto Lover. The Cam Laughter. The rocket comes out, doesn't connect. He is surviving. He is a Tara. So the ability to just kind of not really care about damage is there, but another tower drops. And this seems to be the formula. Force somebody back and drop a tower.
It's working wonders so far, working splendidly. And they don't even have the greatest gold lead. It's only a few K here and there, but taking those towers is massive, especially if you're trying to take something like this Darks that are even the Abyssal, which they're on both, I guess. Just like, we'll just take both at the same time, which certainly makes sense in a way, because you can only contest one if you're one.
I mean, if you drop them both at exactly the same time, you don't have to worry about the curse.
Ready, go. Shishi taking a lot of damage, but Murd has to go back, unfortunately, for the side of one team. I'm looking to see if Flash Wolves decides to build Curse of Death or Tome of the Reaper soon, because they're facing a Tara and an Arum. Seems like the way to go, although I can sort of understand if they don't want to disrupt their builds.
If I'm the Tulin, I need, like, Shishi needs to go that after his, what I believe is a Soaring Aura. Like, after he finishes that Soaring Aura, just pick up that Tome of the Reaper, because he's outputting a lot of damage, and I guess getting the Soaring Aura now will make him feel safer going in there, gives him a much bigger chunk of health. than the Tome of the Reaper does. And then he'll get more health out of the Tome of the Reaper, and he'll probably feel confident, getting in there and picking fights, and then both putting down his the armor or magic defense aura and getting the anti-healing. So,
Agni Scraps goes on to the bottom there, and Ting gets taken out
Wait.
in the split screen. Oh my goodness! Grip all of them. Wayne trying to get out there. She's gonna get snared and taken down most likely. Oh no!
Is she?
The health. Oh my goodness! The abyssal buff, whatever that thing is called. She actually survives all of that. The buff from the Abyssal Dragon, when you take that out, able to keep her alive. 4 members are down. She's actually going to go ahead and stop by the mid tower, and that is going to be game. Flash will suddenly just win the game.
A wolf is most dangerous when it's cornered. The moment you think you have the Flash Wolves, the moment you think they're about to crumble, they just turn on you, and they absolutely obliterate one in a clean 2-0 series.
Wait, did Roxy survive that as well?
Yeah.
What? Are you kidding me? That's insane. Okay, I need
You
to
think you've got them. You think you've got them, and they just like, nah, this was all a trap. Like straight Admiral Akbar, this is a trap.
Wait. So, by the way, I need to know this name so I don't mess it up in casts going forward. Isn't that called like the Dark Slayer buff or something like that? Even though you get it from the Abyssal Dragon?
The revive buff.
Yeah. I think it's
In my
called...
brain, I've just been calling it the Aegis of the Dragon because Dota Plus, but I actually don't know its true name.
I think it's called like the Dark Slayer buff. It's like it's really
Actually, I actually have the patch notes open.
Right, but
the official patch notes, so I'll see if I can find it.
I think it says something different in the game than the patch notes, but I may be mistaken. Anyway, she sold 25% damage on the Tulin, but 28% damage from heroes on that Roxy is kind of nuts. You're looking it up?
Yes.
Okay, I could potentially look this up as well, so we don't hang on this the entire time.
I actually don't.
Okay.
It's called nope, still don't know. We'll solve this one day.
Sure. Anyway, so that all aside, very good series played there by Flash Wolves, taking out 1 and dropping 1 actually to the 5th place in the standings right now, because they will be 3-3 and Hong Kong Attitude is 3-2, so they will fall down to tied for 3rd. They were tied for 3rd, now they're going to be 5th, and Flash Wolves gains a game on everyone around them. They're going to be firmly in 2nd place with no one to catch up to them, be it AHQ or Hong Kong Attitude. So yeah, Flash Wolves gets closer and closer to those playoffs, which, by the way, I believe this is Gauntlet style as well. So every seed is important, and they stay on the heels of J-Team, who are a perfect 5-0, but if they lose, they would be tied for 1st place.
When did they play J-Team again? That is going to be a match.
Well, there's so many great games in here in this league, because I mean, from my point of view, J-Team, Flash Wolves, AHQ, and SMG, those are all must watch in my opinion.
Okay, so Flash Wolves play J-Team on the 6th of October. So we'll get to see that rematch, and see Flash will play Hong Kong Attitude Week 7.
All right. Well, that all said, we should